Okay, I'd like to call to order the City of Norwalk Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District Public Financing Authority. That's a mouthful. Ruth, can I have a roll call, please?
Board Member Shryock,
Here.
Vice Chair Perez,
Here.
Chair Ayala.
Here. Ruth, do we have any public comments for the agenda?
Chair Ayala, members of the board, no response has been received.
Okay. We have, next item is meeting minutes.
Move them.
I'll second. Have a roll call, Ruth.
Board Member Shryock,
Aye.
Vice Chair Perez,
Aye.
Chair Ayala.
Aye. Reports. Jesus, do we have a report?
Yes. Chair Ayala, we have one staff report for you tonight, you and the board members. And I'll start it off with Mr. Alex Hamilton. But this staff report is the basis for the EIFD. And the goal is to be able to have an economic development fund to be able to fund future projects. But this is just the beginning of that process. Alex?
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. And Joseph Dieguez is here from Cosmont. A lot of these slides will look familiar to you, but this is really the launch of the draft plan. The plan has been posted on the city's website. And as I said, he'll give you an outline of the next steps as it relates to the plan. There'll be a series of meetings that we'll need to have, which will be public hearings, and Joseph will go into that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good evening, members of the authority. Joe Dieguez with Cosmont, here to further the discussion on this enhanced infrastructure financing district, really an infrastructure funding and financing tool. This stems from action taken by the City Council back in March to establish this tool. This is a tool that does not add any new tax or increased tax, nothing like that, but merely seeks to put in place a mechanism to pay for infrastructure, roads, utilities, affordable housing, various types of infrastructure. The city took action in March to get the process moving with a non-binding resolution of intention. The County Board of Supervisors took a companion motion in April to be the city's partner in this endeavor. Who would normally be here is Andy Perez, the designee from the County Board of Supervisors. He was not able to make it tonight, but he continues to be very supportive, as is county staff, with this whole endeavor. This body last met in July to adopt some bylaws that just govern the administration of this body, and then formally direct staff to work with our firm at Cosmont to prepare really the meat of the governing document that would govern this entity. It's called the Infrastructure Financing Plan, or IFP, and that plan has all the detail. How many dollars are we talking about? What sorts of projects might get paid for? Over what time horizon? That document is attached to the staff report. It has additionally been mailed, posted on the website, and will be posted in a newspaper several times, as Director Hamilton alluded to. Today's meeting is sort of the first preview of this draft infrastructure financing plan in a public setting. No actions are taken tonight by this body. It's merely the first chance to showcase what's in the document and invite everyone, certainly this board, members of the public, anyone who so desires, to check out the document, review it as a publicly available document, and provide public comment. After tonight, there would be 2 additional public hearings by this body, separate from the City Council, and then it would come to the full City Council separately, and then also separately to the full County Board of Supervisors, with each entity having a chance to independently review, opine, provide input on that document, with sort of the finish line targeted for this financing district tool at the end of the calendar year 2025. I just want to reiterate a few key points for all members of the public. None of this is a new tax or increased tax, nothing like that. It's the city saying from a specific boundary within the city, and I'll show a map, we're going to put a piece of future dollars aside, like a retirement account, and make sure those dollars are set aside for infrastructure. That plan, the infrastructure financing plan being previewed tonight, it has a series of requirements in the state law. You've got to say what the district looks like, What's the anticipated future development within that boundary? What forms of infrastructure might you pay for? Is it roads? Is it lighting, et cetera? Finding of community-wide significance. Why is this important to the community? Section D on financing section lays out all the detail on dollar amounts, timing, all those details. Section E is more qualitative. How does this support economic development, housing production, job creation, those sorts of things? And then letter F, the document has several technical appendices, map and legal description, all the detail behind the financial analysis, really so that all assumptions are made clear to anyone who reviews that document. The boundary, again, same boundary that was discussed on July 1st. It's about 200 acres, about 2.7% of the city in terms of acres. It's really anything on this map that has a color with focus on specific development opportunity sites or redevelopment opportunity sites, no residents. These are sort of vacant or underutilized properties where new development can come. It's just under 2% of the city in terms of assessed value. That means is a sort of a objectively low fiscal exposure for the general fund. It's a very surgically defined boundary to protect the general fund. We make projections about what might happen within that financing district boundary in terms of new private sector investment and development, and we have to quantify all that in terms of assessed value. All of the detail is provided in the plan. None of this happens over time. I mean, overnight, it happens over time, over 10, 20 years. The types of projects that might be paid for, this list is kept intentionally broad and flexible. So we're calling out potential categories of investment: affordable housing, roadway and utility improvements, parks and open space, transit connectivity. When these districts are formed, the initial dollars are very low. So the plan is, as the dollars do come in future years, and potentially you could do things like issue a bond, then more detail is provided. What comes first? Is it roadway? Is it parks? All of those would be decisions made specifically in future years. The financing section, so what's currently proposed in the draft plan is that just within that boundary, that 200 acres, the city would set aside half, 50% of its share of the property tax dollar into this fund that would be specified for infrastructure. And the county, as a partner to the city, would set aside 50% of its share. It can be viewed as sort of an employer matching an employee's set aside to one's retirement account. That's the county being a partner to the city in the infrastructure within this community to help private sector investment come in. We look at that over a potential 45, 50-year district lifetime, equivalent to about $70 million on a present value basis, if we account for inflation, about $70 million. That finding of community-wide significance, it's quantified in this draft document a number of ways: housing production, affordable housing production, jobs, wages. It's very important that we outline those. We spend a good deal of time just saying, what's the return on investment for each potential entity? The city's general fund, the county's general fund, other dollars for things like homelessness and transportation. So the analysis in this plan provides all that detail and the assumptions, what this looks like over time, with the bottom line being this is a positive, a significantly positive return on investment for the city and the county, more broadly the community, without adding any new taxes. And then also importantly, it also sets up the community to be more competitive for yet other money, such as state grants. So the roadmap, what's been done so far today is a lot of those key contents on boundary, on development projections, on types of projects that might get paid for. Those have been previewed since early this calendar year. A lot of these same slides were used on July 1st when this body first met. What's new today is this is sort of formally packaged in the way it needs to look pursuant to state law in the so-called infrastructure financing plan. This is the preview. We'll take any questions and comments today, but it's far from the end. They would be between now and the calendar year end. This body tentatively will meet October 7th for the first technical public hearing on this plan, where it's an opportunity to change some things, to revise it, or honestly to abandon the proceedings altogether, if that's what this body chose to do. The final public hearing by this body would be November 18th, tentatively. That's a chance for additional comment. It's also a chance for members of the public, anyone who lives or owns property within the boundary specifically, they can actually protest the formation of this district if they don't like any part of the plan or the concept or the way meetings were held. Really anything could be protested. We don't see it happen a lot because we're not adding new taxes, but it's sort of a very important point of community input if anyone seeks to do that. Separate, there was this line item for September, October. So separate from this body, the Public Financing Authority meeting, we're targeting a city council meeting separately, currently targeted for September 16th, and then a separate County Board of Supervisors meeting, a date for which has not yet been identified, where each of those independent entities, separate from this Public Financing Authority, would have a chance to provide any input in a different setting. So the theme is sort of very public, newspaper notices, mailing notices, website notices, multiple public hearings at various levels, just so that there's sort of nowhere to hide in what this thing is intended to do and how it impacts the community. So for tonight, no action. It's sort of just receiving this presentation, an invitation really to anyone who wants to look at all the detail. It's available as part of this packet and on the EIFD website at this link. And much more to come in terms of public meetings and hearings. And then at this point, I'd be very happy to address any questions.
For maybe people that have tuned in late to this, could you give like a 2 or 3 minute history of where these type of authorities came from and why it's in the best interest of the county and the city? So like I said, just in case people that are listening tuned in late, and this has been going on for a little bit, to just bring everybody up to date real quick about what the thinking is and how this started in the interest of the county and the city.
Yes, of course, Mr. Chair. We could say it started in 2012 when the former redevelopment agencies in California were dissolved by state legislation, and there became no way for cities and counties in California to use future property tax revenues as a way to get economic development and affordable housing and private sector investment going. So this tool came about a couple of years later in 2014 as close as we can get to the old redevelopment agencies. It's a way of creating a specific revenue stream that can do things like issue bonds, or it can enter into loan agreements, all without increasing taxes to property owners, renters, business owners, nothing like that. Just carving out a revenue stream and making sure it's very publicly known that dollars are being set aside for infrastructure and affordable housing. As Cosmont became involved with it in Norwalk, a lot of it came with specific development proposals that had huge infrastructure cost burden for whatever, roadway, utilities, park components, affordable housing components. And there was no tool other than this available for the city to sort of inject itself into these deals and unlock stuck projects. So that's where a lot of the conversations came. That informed the way the boundary was drawn very surgically. Just talk about those development opportunity sites. So for the city, it's a way to catalyze that economic development and housing without adding new taxes. For the county, this is probably the leading county in the state for partnering with cities in this. They can say no. There's no requirement for the county to be a partner in these sorts of districts. It's essentially the county saying, I'd like to be your partner. I'd like to set aside a piece of my property tax that would otherwise go to my county general fund, but rather I'd like to see it stay here within Norwalk for a set of infrastructure and affordable housing projects that benefit not only these specific projects, but have sort of a community-wide and regional impact. So this county has an adopted policy that says, if you're willing to prioritize job creation, if you're willing to prioritize affordable housing, then I, as a county, will support you. And Supervisor Hahn and her deputy Andy, who will join us in future meetings, have been at the forefront of saying, okay, we agree with some of these priorities within Norwalk. What benefits this city, it benefits the county as a whole in housing and infrastructure and economic development. So this county has been the leader in partnering with cities. So overall, it's about unsticking stuck projects, seeing new housing built, new commercial amenities, entertainment built in a way that's actually financially feasible for the private sector.
Nicely done, thank you. A good explanation. And this is, can we go back to the other slide for actions on this? This is just a receive and file, correct?
Chair, if I just want to make one quick comment. I think we're actually very fortunate to have Board Member Shyrock on this board with us. appointed by Supervisor Hahn, because Mr. Shyrock was around when redevelopment was here in the city of Norwalk, and being able to take that history that you had as a council member and the ability to use redevelopment funds for the purpose of economic development, housing growth, and infrastructure is going to bring a lot of wealth, knowledge, and information to what we want to do to move this forward. I'm sure it's going to be really easy to say $70 million, we can do a lot with that. But it's very specific on how that funding can be used, and your assistance from past history and some of those projects and processes is really going to bring a lot of information. So just want to thank Mr. Shyrock for being here. And Joe, thank you for bringing this together, and it's great.
Thank you. Authority member Marks. I'll say that I agree with Jennifer in having both Kim Apodaca, Shyrock, because they're two people that have Kim has spent multiple years on planning, lifelong resident. I don't think we have enough time to go through Member Shyrock's his background and his curricula vitae. Jennifer touched on it, but I mean, we couldn't have found two more people more qualified to deal with this, because they will hit the ground running. They won't. There will be no time loss for them to get right into the meat with this. I'm very comfortable with the fact that we're working with Cosmont on this project. I know it has a lot of respect from both Member Shyrock and Member Apodaca, as well as City Council, and I think this is a good thing for us, because redevelopment left a big hole out there. I'm just happy that we're able to, we have our disagreements with the county. I'm glad on this particular thing that's so important to the region that we're able to work with them as a partner to address some of this stuff, because we all win in the process. And being this is under member remarks, I will hand this over to Member Shyrock.
Thank you very much for those kind remarks, colleagues. I just wanted to, there's three things I have. First of all, the charter kind of calls for, or it does call for 20% for affordable housing. And I think that's excellent. Any way that we can push that ball forward, because there's a real problem, not just in California, but nationwide. Cosmont has been, they were the only ones that were thinking positively when everybody was crying the blues. And I'm very happy to be, that we have them on board working for our city. And then last is, I was hoping that we could get a tour of all the little parcels. Maybe we can, I don't know, have you guys gone out to all the parcels yet? Yeah, maybe we can, then maybe we could go eat something. No, but I think, so as the community,
Lunch motivates
as the
everybody.
community starts coming in and asking, then we could, we can really speak intelligently about all the different parcels. There's,
Especially as a group, so that we can all look at it
yeah,
and talk about it.
very good. So is that
same
possible
time.
for us to set that up in the near future?
I think it's a great idea.
All right,
Sure,
great.
Mr.
Thank you.
Gomez. Mr. Gomez will jump right on that.
Thank you.
And Member Perez?
I'm good. Let's get it done.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leonard. We
Thank you.
appreciate your participation.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay. Do we have any staff remarks?
Not tonight, Chair.
Okay. Ruth, do we have any requests for oral communications?
None received.
Okay, then we stand adjourned. We will commence city council meeting here in a couple minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got our management position here. Looks like. I would like to, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Norwalk City Council to order. This evening, we are honored to welcome Pastor Scott Gessinger of Rock of the Nations Church here in Norwalk. Pastor Gessinger has previously led a missionary to India and has now served the Norwalk community for almost 3 years. Following the invocation, we're excited to be joined by our special guest, young Marine Private Benjamin Torres, to conduct the Pledge of Allegiance. Young Marine Private Torres is a fifth grader at Dahlin Elementary. He enjoys youth football, video games, and attending community events held at Norwalk parks. Pastor Scott and young Marine Private Benjamin Torres, please come. Well, you're already here. It's just like, whoosh, and you're there. And we'll do those, and then if you'll stay up here afterwards, we have, a couple tokens of our appreciation for you guys. Okay?
Thank you. Please join me in a word of prayer. Lord God, we are so grateful to be able to call on you to join us here. We recognize you as the sovereign Lord of every one of us, of every square inch of this beautiful city. We welcome you and we ask that you would give great wisdom to our city council, to our city officers. Lord, that you would bring unity in this city, that this city would be a city of love and compassion, that it would be a city of foresight, that it would be a city that honors one another and honors you. We're so grateful that you help us, that you're here, that you want to bless this city. You want commerce to flourish in this city. We're so grateful for all the good that's being done through this council, through this body. And we pray that you would help them more and more as the year goes old, Lord. And we pray, Lord, in this upcoming fall session, that you would guide them, lead them, give them new insight, fresh ways to bring goodness and love and justice into our city. We pray protection over each and every member of this city, every resident, Lord, that's so precious to you, every child, every aged one, everyone who's alone and lonely right now. We pray that you would meet with them. We thank you that you hear these prayers, that every word that we pray, you hear. And we ask all these good things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Okay, Private Torres.
Right hand over your heart, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Do one more. 3, 2, 1.
Young man. Young lady.
Okay. City Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmembers Ramirez,
Here.
Rios,
Here.
Valencia,
Here.
Vice Mayor Perez,
Here.
Mayor Ayala.
Here. Okay, Mr. Glassman, can we have the city attorney report, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The record should reflect that the city council recessed into closed session this evening for the discussion of the 3 items that were listed on the agenda, that prior to recessing into closed session, those items were announced in open session. And the following is my report. All 3 items were presented to the city council and heard by the city council. There was no action taken that is required to be reported at this time. And that concludes my report from closed session. It's appropriate to continue with the open portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Glassman. Now it's time for city council comments. First, we have Councilmember Ramirez.
Mr. Mayor, no comments this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Rios.
Yes, thank you and good evening to everyone who's joined us on our council meeting today on September 2nd. I hope that all of you enjoyed the Labor Day weekend, especially those that may have had to work while others were celebrating in however form or fashion they chose to on the long holiday weekend. Some were still out there, doing the work, and all of our workers, we have a very strong workforce in the city of Norwalk, and so I think it's safe to say that we appreciate everything that you all are doing, and I hope that you were able to enjoy the weekend. Also, I wanted to share that on August 21st, I was able to participate along with the City of Norwalk and our Metro and Caltrans at the Sea Line, the Metro station. We had a collaborative meeting there to discuss some of the projects there off the 105 and Sea Line, Studebaker exit. I know that that's kind of been a long progress. It's been in the works, but I can assure everyone in our community that the city, working alongside with the state and with Metro and Caltrans, has been really diligent in addressing those issues that we have there. And they're looking at a multitude of different options to help improve the current infrastructure. So we were there to discuss the projects and specifically safety initiatives that are underway. Also to discuss accessibility for pedestrians and bicyclists to and from the station. So a lot going on there. I'll share just some of the topics that we talked about. We talked about signage, flashing beacons, pavement markings, speed feedback sign, dynamic message sign, lighting, tolling infrastructure, lane reduction, Sea Line platform improvements, park and ride lot improvements, and a Hoxie bike lane. So just as an update to our community, stay tuned because we are consistently working on improving the infrastructure there. We are very aware of the concerns, but we've been, as I mentioned, very diligent working with our partners to address some safety issues and introduce safety initiatives. So just wanted to share my participation in that and let you all know that we're still very, very vested in that process and to getting things done there. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rios. Next, we have Councilmember Valencia.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's meeting. It's nice to see so many people here. I'm very interested in what's happening in our city. Tuesday, I'd like to mention that Tuesday, excuse me, let me backtrack because I wasn't here meeting before. I got COVID, 2 days of school, and then I got COVID, so out for a couple of days. There's a strain going around. Please take care. Please, if you start feeling sick, a little cold or something, those headaches were the ones that prompted me to go get tested. Sure enough, it was COVID. The lighter strain, it feels like the symptoms are very much like a cold, but taking the medicine, that's what cut it. That's what helped me. So if you are getting sick or somebody in your family, have them get tested. So I did attend the last Norwalk concert, and that was a lot of fun with Soto Band. Then the August 7th, I did have a CWAC meeting, Southeast Water, that we host here, and with our Director of Public Works, Ken. It was a really well-attended meeting, very good discussions, and we're making some really good strides there. So thank you. The other thing is Tuesday, August 22nd, we had a commissioners meeting and discussed really good items, and especially we spoke about water. And I want to publicly thank our own Parks and Rec Commissioner, Ali Hernandez, for making that possible, making that presentation, as well as Angie Mancias. Very diligent, very knowledgeable. And that, they talked about what water is and Metropolitan Water District and how that kind of caved into our project that's going to happen in Hermosillo Park. And I'd like to also thank Ron and Mario Meras. I'm sorry, did I get your last name correct? Okay. For also explaining to us what the water project will entail. But then I saw later on that we have it on today's agenda. So I'm very excited about getting that information again, because you could never be too knowledgeable about water and the process, how expensive it can be, and it is, but what we're doing in our city. And thank you to our city manager, Jesus Gomez, and our team for looking for ways of not having to spend, being able to conserve our own water and save it, and then also possibly even sell it so we can profit out of it instead of having to constantly pay. It's good to hear, and I can't wait to hear the presentation. I also wanted to mention the Norwalk Lions Club Pancake Breakfast is happening Sunday, September 21st at the Norwalk Sports Complex. It's from 8 to 12 a.m. You know where to get the tickets, right here. And our own president, Norwalk Lions president, Rick Ramirez, can also get you tickets. And they're $10. And of course, they go to really great efforts, the eyeglasses, hearing aids, diabetes type equipment as well for those that afford it. So you're all invited, and please buy as many tickets. All right, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we have Vice Mayor Perez.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Bulletins are out for some of our favorite departments with updated information. You do want to make sure you grab the Norwalk Now. It was just sent to all of our residential addresses. It's located on our social media sites and on our website. Social Services Center bulletin is out. All the activities, times, dances, you name it, is all in here. And the one for the Senior Center. But in both, they are gearing up to celebrate Grandparents' Day. So Grandparents' Day is coming up this Sunday. So happy Grandparents' Day to all of our grandparents in the city of Norwalk. I want to just let everybody know that I did attend the Contract Cities monthly board meeting 2 weeks ago, sorry. And we got an update from Sheriff Luna, who came and gave us an update on some of the activities and percentages and numbers that are going on, not only in the county, but specific to some of our cities. So it was great to be able to hear directly from him. Also had some time to speak with Chief Maroney, who is here for our LA County Fire Departments. And I've offered an extension and invite to him to come to Norwalk and to tour our 2 stations here in the city of Norwalk so we can work together to make sure another one of our service agencies are getting represented and taken care of here in the city of Norwalk. I did attend our legislative commission meeting for Contract Cities. And I just want to say thank you to our communications team and to Jesus and our team in the office. There's a lot of statewide bills that are coming out that will be voted on in the next few weeks now that the session is coming back to meetings in Sacramento. And a lot of those will directly affect how we run business, how we operate here, not only in the city of Norwalk, but a lot around law enforcement. So our team here has really pushed some of that information out to our residents on our social media pages. We want you to be aware of what is happening. So that way, if those changes need to be made here in the city of Norwalk, you're aware of where it came from, where the directive came from for us to make those changes. So please pay attention to our social media pages. If you have any questions whatsoever, please let us know. And if we don't have the answer, if I don't have the answer, I will be more than happy to seek out our state representatives and get those answers for you. That is all I have. Please continue to stay cool. Check on your neighbors. It's hot out there. It's been humid. So just be on the lookout for everybody and know that we are always here in the city if you need anything. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I just have a couple things. I want to thank Jesus and Gomez, City Manager Ozzy Ramos, our deputy, and Rita Reese, our Public Safety Director, and Noe Garcia, for all our back-to-school safety programming. I think, it comes up that we have, issues with, that there's no longer jaywalking anymore, so people cross streets whenever they want. And it creates not because we want to be giving people citations, but it can create some really dangerous situations out there. And I'm glad to see that team with, including Noe with the Sheriff's Department, that they're looking at these things to address some things, because there's clearly, because school just started, we're talking about activities happening around schools, parents dropping kids off and all that other kind of stuff. And then we, have a couple situations there, like, seniors crossing the street mid-block at the senior center, Londra at the social service center, which is a nutrition site. It's a very fast street, so I just want to say that I appreciate your attention to all that, because you get a vehicle versus a pedestrian, that is never going to end well. And I think that's why it was great that we just recently got the grant from Office of Traffic Safety and whatnot to just continue working that direction. So I encourage you, Mr. Gomez, to continue with that. I know you and I met a couple times on that. I think you had some great ideas, but that we just keep moving the ball forward on that, because, like I said, because when it happens, it's not going to end well. So we got to try to prevent that as much as we can. We're going to go into special presentations. Tonight, the City of Norwalk is proudly recognizing the month of September as National Preparedness Month. National Preparedness Month serves as a reminder for all citizens to take concrete steps to prepare, including creating emergency plans assembling supply kits, and staying informed about potential risks and safety measures. The City of Norwalk partners with federal, state, and local community organizations to educate communities on local hazards and natural disasters and how to prepare for them now. It's too late once the disaster already happened. And I know that sometimes people fall into that sense that, well, you know, I'll do it next week or I'll do it some other time. But by then it's going to be too late. So, you know, be smart. If you're not sure what kinds of things that you need to create a plan and supplies and whatnot for your families, you can always contact our public safety department and they'd be more than willing to help you out. And so I, Tony Ayala, Mayor of the City of Norwalk, on behalf of Vice Mayor Jennifer Perez, my fellow council members, City Council members Rick Ramirez, Margaret Rios, and Ana Valencia, do hereby proclaim September 2025 as National Preparedness Month. Let's welcome staff from the Emergency Operations Center to the front to accept the proclamation and join us for a group photo. And as they're coming up here, can I have Jesus or somebody that you designate to say who each one of these individuals are and what their role is with the emergency operations there?
Sure, we'll do that, Mayor.
We'll come up there in just a second. We'll have give you a quick introduction for. Good. You want Richard to do it? Hand him the mic.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Thank you for honoring us and our CERT team this evening. I do want to introduce my staff. We have Mr. Henry Fimbris. He oversees our CERT team. He's our CERT coordinator. He helps with the training and all of our community outreach programs. And really assisting him is Miss Natalie, who, again, you've seen her at all of our events, distributing supplies, helping recruit for CERT. Then we have Mr. Nick Severson with us this evening. He helps us out on a part-time basis with major events. He comes and helps augment our staff, and he also helps with CERT as our ham radio technician. And then, of course, we have various members of our CERT team who have given their time. I want to point out CERT is a 3-day course to get certified. It's basic search and rescue, or excuse me, light search and rescue, first aid, CPR, incident command system, and a number of other things. So it's quite an endeavor just to get trained, and then they give their time for our events. This team was out for the Eaton Fire, assisting with water distribution at that time. So we're lucky to have that source of manpower here in our city if we ever need it. And thank you again for honoring us this evening.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may just add a quick comment. I'd like to thank Rita and Richard for really maintaining the program. It means a lot for the community in preparation, so I just wanted to make sure that I acknowledge both of them. Thank you.
Well, I know I've told this story many times, and it made me think of it because a couple of weeks ago I had an opportunity to talk to former council member Judy Brennan, and this was one of her goals, and that was probably like 30 years ago. And this is, I told her this is what we were doing, and she was so excited because back then, it was about funding, it was about manpower, it was about all kinds of things. It wasn't because we didn't want to do it and we weren't trying to do it, we just didn't have the ability to do it. So when she heard that all the things that we're doing with EOC, all the programming we got going on right now, she was extremely pleased. So I give her props for the one that really made an effort to kick this into high gear. That's always better late than never.
Okay.
There you go. Get on your tiptoes, guys. On your tiptoes. Get those calves working. Come on now.
Okay, ready? Right there. Around 3, 2, 1. Do one more. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, Judy predated Sherry for quite a few years. Am I correct, Laura?
Wonderful.
This is one we love as a city council. Recognizing Cal Home Program recipients for achieving home ownership. Yay. We're also, got kind of a delayed reaction there, but we're honored this evening to recognize families who have become new homeowners through the Cal Home First Time Home Buyer Program. This program provides up to $200,000 in down payment assistance to approved applicants, helping families achieve the dream of home ownership. With us tonight are representatives from Global Urban Strategies who help guide these families through the process. Together with the City of Norwalk, we proudly celebrate their achievement. The families recognized tonight are Jorge Garcia, Matthew Munoz, Madeline Villalobos, and Jocelyn Munoz, and Daniel and Jeanette Gomez. I'd like to invite the GUS team and families to join us at the front, present the ceremonial check, and share a few words on this milestone. Afterwards, City Council will join the families for a group photo. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, staff, and residents. First off, my condolences. If you're here, that means you didn't win the Powerball. But we do have winners here in the city, right? And these are just some of the winners that we have here. And I mean winners is because, you know, they took advantage of a program that you as a council approved approximately about a year and a half ago to go and help these families become homeowners. So one, I want to thank you for that because I know that, you know, you were able, you were a crucial part of making these families homeowners. They've just become homeowners within the last 3 months, I believe, all of them. And would you like to say anything else? I do want to say one thing though before we get started. This family has gone. They worked really, really hard. They got everything in. They got in their house, and then tragedy hit. Their home burned down. So as soon as they got it, it burned down. But hopefully, they're going to go through all the process, and they're going to be able to go and get a home rebuilt. We already offered them assistance if they need any help with any of the processes or any paperwork that they would need. We're here to help for them on behalf of this. So, if you'd like to say anything, you don't have to, but if you, no?
I don't mean to be for this to be history night. However, this is another program that the city has been trying to do for years and years and years, but because of the way that you know, the rules were restrictive, and because of the housing market and all these other things, you know, the city council, working with our staff, figured out a way to start making these homes a reality for some of our families. And like I said, and these are things that were started years ago, and we don't often do it, but this council can really take a bow for working with the staff to make this a reality, and we're hoping there's going to be lots more presentations like this at our, you know, so I congratulate my colleagues because I know this has been a dream of everybody. Bill, thank you very much.
And just so you know, we have another 4 families that are going to be helped
Outstanding.
that are already in the process. So thank you thank you so much. Thank you to your staff, Mr. Jesus. Your staff is just incredible. They've been so helpful in trying to get us everything. They've been really receptive, really turned paperwork around. So it's really is a pleasure to work with your city.
And Mayor, members of the City Council, I know that this has been one of your goals to have more home ownership here in the city of Norwalk. And this is an example of what we're working towards with community members. I do want to congratulate Moises Mata, who's been our liaison to the program. It does take staff to be able to get these programs off the ground. So Moises, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I also want to congratulate my niece and my nephew who are standing there, right there. You're touching her? She's my niece? Jeanette, yeah. Yeah, and my nephew, Pete. Where is he? It was just him. Right. Like, no, remember we and then, so we'll have a total about between 10 and 15.
Well, congratulations again. Like I said, this has been a long time coming, and I know we're all very proud. Mr. Gomez, City Manager comments, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council and our community, we do have our senior center who is a cooling center, so take advantage of that center because as the heat rises, you're able to go into the senior center to be able to get cool down, and they have goodies for you there as well as some fun games to be entertained. So Gabriela, thank you very much for having your staff be focused on that and our seniors who in this heat are vulnerable. So thank you very much for that. Second, we have a presentation from Metro regarding reconnecting communities and neighborhoods. And Councilwoman Rios, this is the meeting that you had out at Metro Station. And tonight, we are getting a presentation that will identify the projects that are due to be implemented as we go through the public hearings and so forth. So with that, I don't have your card, but you can introduce yourself. Yes.
Good evening, council members. I am Meghna Khanna. I'm a Deputy Executive Officer at LA Metro. I work with the planning group and I'm leading and managing the Reconnecting Communities Grant Program. So I do want to talk about the program, give you an overview. We received this federal funds, so do want to talk about that, and then specifically focus on the projects that are within the Norwalk, and we've been working with your staff on advancing these projects. So talking about the Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhood Grant, this is a grant we applied for in early 2024. We got the federal money, and it is a grant which is trying to create legacy projects for the games. So we received $161 million. That's the total program amount. For the federal share is $139 million. Of all that money that we received, we are putting 35 miles of bus corridor enhancement, which is bus shelters, landscaping across LA County. We are doing first last mile project, which is like those bike connectivity projects. 3 open street locations, 5 mobility hubs, 60 bike shares, and 5 years of Go Pass extensions. So this program is funding projects across LA County. So to focus on what's in the city of Norwalk, out of the RCN program, we have been working with the staff to do bus corridor improvements along Imperial and Studebaker. And then also, as Councilmember Rios mentioned, the Hoxie bike lane project, that's a critical element of this RCN program. So Studebaker and Imperial Highway, I do want to emphasize the Studebaker improvements run for 1.4 miles between Cecilia Street and 105 freeway. The key improvements that we are providing as part of RCN is the transit signal priority, and also those 4 bus shelter improvements, so where we will be adding new bus shelters, lighting, and we've been working again with your staff and Norwalk Transit to ensure these locations are the priority locations. Similarly, on Imperial Highway, the project runs for 2.1 miles, and we will be focusing on transit signal priority and the bus shelter locations again, and prioritize with your staff, and these are the locations that'll get those bus shelters, pedestrian lights, and landscaping. Talking about Hoxie Avenue, this is a critical first last mile project which runs along Hoxie. We've been working with your staff. We will have a class 1 multi-use path, which is a dedicated bike lane, 2-way bike lane. And I'll show you cross sections just in a minute. And then as it goes south of Imperial, it becomes a class 4 separated bikeway. Still separated from the travel lanes, ensuring that safety. And as we do this, we have been doing a lot of coordination again with your staff, making sure that we incorporate all those design considerations, especially because the Costco driveways are along that edge. So just to give you an idea, if you look at Downey Norwalk roadway to Imperial Highway, the existing cross section versus the proposed, you see that class 1 multi-use path, which we are creating along the edge of the sidewalk. And then south of Imperial, we are doing the class 4 separated bike lane, again, ensuring that safety. I do want to emphasize this RCN grant. We are trying to deliver these projects before the games. So the timeline is really constrained, and we are working on an expedited speed. The goal is to have a construction moratorium in place by March of 2028, ahead of the games. So right now, we are in 30% design, which we plan to complete by end of this year. We will complete the final design by June of 2026, and then the major completion, construction completion, by December of 2027. So again, I would say it's a federal grant. We have to meet all federal requirements, even the reimbursement, how we build them, everything needs to happen by December of 2028. And as we work on the project, our goal is to continue coordination with the city team, and city staff has been really collaborative. We have been holding coordination meetings with even Norwalk Transit. So as we work through it, again, want to emphasize, we'll continue ongoing public participation as needed as we advance the design. And thank you, Councilmember Rios, again for attending that site visit. It was really informative for everyone to understand what's going on, and we plan to do that as we continue the design. So our key next steps, today I'm here to present the project overview. We are working also with the staff to draft a letter of agreement just to ensure as we continue working on the project, we follow these timelines. And our goal is to complete the 30% design by December of 2025. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Council?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Hoxie bike path, I'm sorry, when is that scheduled to start?
We will start construction sometime in August of 2026, which is next year, with completion in December of 2027.
Is that one right there by the Costco?
That runs along the edge of Costco, so it's south of Foster Road. So can I show you on the map?
Yes,
Just I'll
please.
go back. So if you see on the map, I don't know if the pointer is going to work. No, maybe. As you see, it's running along that edge of Costco. So Costco is located north of Imperial Highway. So it's running along that edge, and then it comes south of Imperial, and then getting into the Norwalk Transit Center, where the existing transit center is, and connecting to Foster Road.
I'm a little bit worried about that, as you know, because it gets very congested. I can see where the need is because of the Metro Rail. I'm just, honestly, I'm really concerned about that specific stretch because there's so many cars for the Costco, the store itself and the car wash.
And that's why when we designed this, we were concerned about putting the bike lane within the street right of way where the cars are. So as you see, we have designed it so it's separated from the travel lanes. Yeah, as you see it.
Clear on that. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much, and for the short but concise presentation, because there is actually a lot going on for this particular infrastructure project. And it is so important because, as I mentioned, and you just talked about, the bike lanes, so we're talking about accessibility, we're talking about safety improvements, and we know that it's so important that we're in that planning phase. I mean, it began quite a while ago, actually. But what I really appreciate is that, even before this, there was community meetings, so the public was able to come out and, look at, what was planned, give input, et cetera. I do want to share that when I was there, sorry, I was distracting over here. During that meeting, thank you. Mario was there. Thank you so much, Mario. Run was there. We had Ozzy and Jesus there. Jim was there. And actually one of our transit drivers, Brenda, she was so nice and so good about, because we did a lot of walking, but thankfully staff planned well, and we had transit there that kind of moved us around so that we can get a visual, which for me personally was great because I'm like a very visual person. And so you really have to go. I don't know if there'll be another opportunity, again, for maybe my colleagues, at another time can actually go see, because we're not just talking about, the sea line, we're talking about, again, Hoxie, the bike lane. We're talking about on the other side, we have a residential area. We have, talking about access to that, from that, and then any concerns the residents may have pertaining to access. And so there really is a lot. But I do want to thank staff. I didn't do it earlier. I do want to thank staff because I think they've really picked up the pace in addressing some of the things that were kind of left unanswered and were kind of iffy, because maybe we weren't communicating or we weren't on the same page with Metro and Caltrans as far as some of the information, specifically to the incidents that happened off the 105 in Studebaker. So thank you to Mario and his team, run for kind of working with the safety liaison that I got to meet that day, actually. Thank you from the state. So this is a big deal, at least for me, for all of us, I think it's safe to say, because transportation, the city of Norwalk, putting us on the map again, once again, getting things right, or at least really, really working diligently to do so, because we know it matters, right? And so thank you, and I look forward to how this continues to evolve.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for covering that, Margarita. Okay, do we have anything else on that, Mr. Gomez?
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council, we have tonight Anthony Mendoza from the Artesia Cemetery District, who'd like to address the council and our community and provide some information regarding the cemetery.
And we know him, Mr. Mendoza, truly an old friend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council, thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you, Mr. Manager, Jesus, for allowing me to, for putting me in the schedule, on the agenda. I come to you because at my new capacity, I'm the general manager for the Artesia Cemetery District. The Artesia Cemetery District is a district that serves the community of Norwalk, south of Alondra, but many people don't know that we exist. And we provide a service for members of your community. And I wanted to come forward just to introduce our services to you. For some of you, you already know, but to make the community know what we do for them. We provided you with a folder. In there has a little summary, a little background of our cemetery. It actually has a district map. On the map, you'll notice that we represent the southern portion of Norwalk. We do have 5 trustees, and I will let you know that you are well represented on our board. We do have Trustee Arturo Sanchez Jr., who represents the city of Norwalk. I also provided a list of community events that we do in our district. The reason I come before you, because prior to me arriving there, the cemetery went through a rough time. They had mismanagement, fraud. The people that were there before me pled guilty to felony embezzlement of public funds. It was pretty dramatic. But we have turned the place around. We do open houses now to allow the public to come visit. That's one of the reasons I came before you. I have a flyer there for you to come if you can make it. It's going to be on Saturday, September the 20th at 10 a.m. I also provided you a sample of our mailer that we did. This is the first time we'll actually do a mailer to mail to all the residents of the district. So all the residents of Norwalk, south of Alondra, will receive the mailer to let them know what we do for them and to invite them to our open house. Because, like I said, a lot of times they don't know that we exist and our services are there to support them. Our pricing is much lower than the private cemeteries or the religious cemeteries, because we are partially funded through property taxes that your residents and other residents from the other cities provide to us. We represent the south of Norwalk, Artesia, Cerritos, Lakewood, Hawaiian Gardens, and a few streets in Long Beach. So I just wanted to, I also included in this packet some pricing sheets so you could see the difference between what a resident pays and what a non-resident pays. And you'll see that the price can be a little bit different, a little bit beneficial to the residents of Norwalk. And I come before you to invite you. I hope that you can make it, and any other resident that might want to come out and visit and get to know what services we provide. We are here to serve you. And with that, I open it up. If you have any questions for me or what we do, I'll gladly answer them.
I just have one question. It's, I know like with the Lake Cemetery over in Santa Fe Springs, because some of these graves are so old and they've been used for such a long time. Is there any interesting historical things having to do with Artesia Cemetery? Because I notice also you have some people that have been interred there since the 60s.
Yes, we have a lot. We have a large, we started doing interments there since the 1860s. And remember, this was called the Artesia Cemetery. We became a government, an actual district in 1928. That was before any other city around here, right? It was most of the cities didn't become a city until the 1950s. So this was actually the first local government around here founded by the county. And just to let you know, we have about 100, we have 44 Civil War veterans interred at our cemetery. And we have a total of 544 veterans total interred at our cemetery. We do a wonderful Memorial Day ceremony that I would love for you to come out if you can. But we take pride and we really go out of our way to thank our veterans for their service. And it's one of our highlights and something we're very proud of.
Yeah, that's awesome because you don't normally think about Artesia and local cemeteries, because I know Little Lake has some people interred from, from that era. I don't know if they were actually Civil War, related, but to make that connection between like Artesia and Civil War and just the historical significance of the property and, why you would want to be associated with that and why you would want to bury a family member there, be buried there yourself, because you're not just in a cemetery, you're part of the local history. And I think that makes it all that much more community oriented. And I think the service that you do there and making these things affordable. I mean, I've had the misfortune of, burying family members and seeing, what the costs are there. And it's prohibitive. I mean, it's really prohibitive. And I think you're right. I think there's a lot of people don't know that, that they can, that you have services like that there. So I just see a lot of benefits from a lot of different directions, but I'm kind of a history buff, so it's a historical thing. It's interesting to me. So thanks for coming out, Tony. It was really
Thank
good.
you. Appreciate
Really
that.
good to see you. I'm not kidding to say that you're an old friend. And thanks for coming out.
If I may have some comments, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Tony, for coming out and sharing. This cemetery is really close to my family's heart. I mean, I have the official Ramirez Cemetery, right? My mother and father are buried there amongst other family members and friends as I grew up, because I grew up on the border of Artesia and Norwalk. So I've seen the expansion and the well-kept lawns and just infrastructure that you, with your leadership, have made it today. I know in the past it was kind of run down, but it is truly a treasure that's in our local area. I know you have a family event, Dia de los Muertos, every year that is starting to become very popular amongst the community, and it's well attended. So I appreciate the fact that you're hosting other events to bring the community together. But yeah, if you guys haven't walked the grounds, they've expanded, and it's really truly a treasure in the Southeast County area of Los Angeles. Hopefully I don't see that soon, but that is a really nice place, and it's tranquil. So if you guys get a chance to go out there, just to walk the grounds and see where it is today. So I appreciate the efforts and your leadership with the Board of Trustees that you guys have done. Thank you.
Tony already has some prime real estate over there for you, Rick. Go ahead, Anna.
Lee, you want me to follow that? Tony, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Former senator and assembly member and city council member.
That's right.
Thank you for coming over. I also wanted to extend my gratitude for you bringing this information out to us, and lots of folks that I've, they come and they tell me, wow, what a turnaround for that cemetery. Since you've been there with your leadership, really done a 180. Thank you. I also want to personally say thank you because you helped out some friends of mine, actually several, with families when they had an unexpected death in families. And they just didn't know what to do, and I gave them your number. You took care of it. And I believe now the whole family has bought pots. So thank you. And they were even telling me, I'm planning on getting cremated, but I understand that there is services that are that Artesia Cemetery can do as well, like burn somewhere and things of that sort. Yeah, I don't see that here, but
So, yeah, we actually will, there's some pictures here on the brochure. But just to let you know, we We just built over 500 brand new wall niches for cremations.
That's what I,
It's a beautiful construction that we did just recently. And we also installed an ossuary. Some people don't know what an ossuary is, but an ossuary is more like a scattering garden, but it's an internal chamber that you scatter inside of a chamber instead of just in the open. It's more like more of an eco-friendly kind of choice for some people.
that's very popular.
Right, that's very popular. So we just built ours, and it's sitting towards the back of the cemetery, but that's one of our new additions this year.
Thank you so much for it. The website, www.artesiacemetery.com, people can get information. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. Have a good night. Thank you.
Mayor, the next item is Concerts in the Park recap. We want to show off what Norwalk does during the summer. So with that, we'll play the video.
This summer, Norwalk turned up the volume with Wednesday summer concerts and Front Street Friday nights. Week after week, we brought the beats, the crowd, and that non-stop summer energy. This year, our summer concerts moved to an exciting new location, Norwalk Park. We kicked off our Wednesday summer concert series on July 9th with Grupo Neblina opening the series, bringing high-energy Latin music that had the crowd dancing from the first beat. Then on July 18th, Front Street Fridays lit up summer with the New Romantics, a tribute tailor-made for the Swifties. And yes, Norwalk knew every lyric. Back at Norwalk Park on July 23rd, Blue Breeze delivered smooth Motown funk and soul that had everyone feeling the vibes.
Calling out around the world, are you ready for a brand new start? We're dancing on the street. Dancing in the street.
On August 1st, Bruno and the Hooligans took over Front Street with some uptown funk full of energy, crowd favorite hits, and Bruno Mars level charisma. Then, on August 6th, Soto Band closed out our Wednesday summer concert series with Latin funk and a performance that brought the house down. And finally, on August 15th, Latin Soul wrapped up Front Street Fridays with smooth vocals and infectious Latin grooves, turning Front Street into a full-blown block party. With food food vendors, exhibitor booths, a kids zone, and raffles between sets, every week felt like a mini music festival. From start to finish, this wasn't just a concert series. It was Norwalk living its best summer. Thank you to everyone who came out, sang, and danced the night away with us. We'll see you next year.
Mayor, that concludes all my comments here tonight.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Good stuff. We're going to go into consent calendar, but I'd like to pull item 7 for a report, please.
Mayor, members of City Council, Mr. Glenn Cow will present.
Hold on, might have gotten the wrong number there. Hold on. Item 7 is accepting work for citywide sidewalk concrete repair.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, that's the one. Let's hear it.
Thank you, Jesus. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. I'll go with what the mayor, he already announced this project. Briefly, for the project, City Council awarded a CJ Concrete contractor for the private services. The value of the contract is $499,600 for FY 24-25 work. The work consisted of all concrete repair type activity within the city, which includes R&R for sidewalks, curb and gutters, and ramps to bring them, the access ramps, to bring them up to the current standard. They're a little flatter at 8.33%, and assistance on other types of concrete work citywide. The work under the contract has completed as of June 25th this year. The total project cost for the work completed was $484,346, which is under the contracted amount by about $15,254, roughly 3%. And for this item tonight, staff's recommendation is for council, we recommend council to accept the work performed by CJ Construction, Inc. in the amount of $484,346 for citywide sidewalk concrete repair and replacement and curb ramp installations to comply with the American with Disabilities Act, the ADA standards. And
Great.
I'd be happy to address any questions. Thank you.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because, you know as well as I do, a lot of homes in Norwalk have sidewalks and curb and gutter that's corrupted by trees and stuff, and we're trying to get that fixed, and plus get the right trees in and all this other stuff. So I think it's very important, if we're taking any kind of action on stuff like this, whether we're accepting the work or we're, you know, going out for bid or whatever, is to constantly keep that, you know, in people's minds, because it is a high priority. You know, typically there are things we just can't get done super fast. But people have to know that we're focused on addressing it. But, you know, we've got 10 square miles of city, you know, with God knows how many miles of sidewalk, and that, you know, that we're working to stay on top of it, and we're going to chip away at it until we get it done. So I would just ask that, you know, when that kind of stuff comes up, instead of, you know, putting it on the consent calendar, that we put it in the regular agenda so we can, you know, keep people aware of what it is that that we're doing. So there's that, and the I was curious about number 8, about the purchase of a backhoe loader. Can I have a report on that, please?
Yes, sir. Fiscal year 25-26, Public Services Department had budgeted for funds for replacement of the backhoe loader within the street maintenance division. Street maintenance, basically, they do both graffiti, but more importantly, I'm sorry, not importantly, but just as important, pothole repairs on the streets to ensure we have safe passage and minimize any type of activity or liability damage. As we all know, we all are aware that the backhoe is essential support equipment for public services in regards to transport materials, street cleanup activities, road repairs especially, and amongst various departments. For this item, staff is desiring to purchase under a cooperative agreement to allow the city to purchase a unit locally from Sansray Machinery at a reduced cost. Timing came up right now, we act on it, and that's why I was here. I want to thank city manager for allowing the item to come on, and the city clerk's office helping us bring this on at last minute with such a short window on that. Additionally, I'd let you know that the current piece of equipment that we're looking to replace is about 12 years old. I did a research, so the average life expectancy for service life of that is anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000 hours, which equates to 4.5 to 5 years. And that's with normal regular maintenance on it. This piece of equipment at 12 years served the city well, and it's time to give up the ghost for it.
Well, I think too, because I think you see something like that on the agenda and it appears to be kind of relevant, you know, but the thing is, once again, when you know what that backhoe loader's for, it's for helping us maintain our streets and everything else. And I see Gabby Garcia's name is on there, and having been a member of administration. Gabby, you know how many calls we get through admin about streets, about sidewalks, about curbs. How many of those have you dealt with when you were here? I mean, this is stuff that comes up all the time. It's a high priority for people. And so, you know, again, it's one of those things that, you know, we're moving in that direction to make the city better. And so I just wanted to pull those two items for reports so that people understand what we're trying to do up here. So okay, we have a comment from Councilmember Rios.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm glad that you pulled item number 8. I was also going to do that because I know in the report to council, it also mentioned this particular item or loader. It also made mention that it's useful and specific to actually working for our tree crew, whether that tree trimming or tree takedowns or tree, is that correct?
Yes, it can be at times where we'll share equipment amongst the section.
Okay.
Cover, because one's up, one's down, and we need to get work done, so we will move
Okay.
it around as needed.
Yes. No, I'm so glad that we saw this item because I know that there was some discussion on items that were needed, you know, from the crew, or just in general, our public services employees in order to perform their job effectively and safely. So I'm actually glad that we're finally seeing this purchase come to the council. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, do we have any other comments or questions on consent calendar? Otherwise,
I'll move it.
Appropriate for motion?
Second.
Okay, can I have a roll call?
I think I heard 2 seconds. Who wants
Margarita.
to? Okay, thanks. All right, so council members Ramirez,
Aye.
Rios, Valencia,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Perez,
Aye.
and Mayor Ayala.
Aye. Does, do you have any appointments to advisory bodies tonight?
Mayor,
Colleagues?
I do have one. I would like to reappoint Ms. Gina Corona to the
Okay.
Historical Heritage Committee. She had been absent from her commission meetings because she welcomed a beautiful baby to her family, and I think that's a good reason why she could not attend. So I would like to reappoint Ms.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a good enough.
Yeah, I don't know. But before we do that, I think if you don't mind, can we defer that to the next meeting because she's on the list here, which
I
would
think
indicate
she got a letter.
She did, But I don't know that we've had the 10-day posting notice
Notice,
yet.
okay.
So I want to make sure that that's in place before we appoint.
Okay, no problem. I'll
Thank
bring
you.
it back to the next meeting.
Okay, thanks.
I'll just mention that the child in question is actually my grandson.
Good reason. I'll reappoint the next meeting. Thanks, Teresa.
Does anybody else have anybody? Okay, then. Item 10, an ordinance of the code, an ordinance of the City of Norwalk amending Norwalk Municipal Code, Chapters 8.48 and 8.5 relating to solid waste handling and recycling and organic waste disposal reduction. Staff report, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of City Council, as we become more sustainable, we also are having our businesses become more sustainable and being more recycling mindful. And so tonight, this item addresses some of that, and Ms. Gabriela Garcia will present.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight I am presenting ordinance number 25-1759, which amends the Norwalk Municipal Code relating to solid waste handling, recycling, and organic waste disposal reduction. The purpose of this ordinance is to update our municipal code so that we can transition to a 3-stream collection system. This will separate trash, recyclables, and organics at the source and ensure the city remains compliant with new state mandates. Currently, Norwalk uses a 2-stream system. Businesses place organics in one bin, and all of their materials, including trash and recyclables, go into another bin. From there, recyclables are extracted at a materials recovery facility. However, as of January 1st, 2025, CalRecycle increased the recovery requirement for these facilities from 50% to 75%. This new threshold makes our existing system no longer sufficient. As of today, the facility used by Athens do not meet the 75% requirement. Achieving that level of compliance would involve significant infrastructure investments, which could result in increased rates for businesses. Without any proactive actions, the city risks being out of compliance with the state. To address this, staff in our hauler, Athens Services, recommends transitioning to a 3-stream collection system. Under the system, businesses will continue to separate organics, but will now also separate recyclables from trash at the source. This approach enhances the quality of recyclables, reduces waste contamination, supports a more sustainable recycling process, and promotes resource conservation. We recognize that businesses may see some adjustments in service costs as the new system is phased in. To ease the transition, the city and Athens Services will provide outreach, education, and technical assistance. The goal is to help businesses comply before the state imposes penalties for noncompliance. The ordinance makes key updates to Norwalk to keep Norwalk compliant with state mandates. It transitions commercial service to a 3-container system, trash, recycling, and organics. It modifies the self-hauler definition, clarifying that a city permit is required and waste must be properly separated and taken to approved facilities. And then some of the definitions were updated from the 2-stream to a 3-stream. Staff recommends that the City Council introduce by title only ordinance number 25-1759, amending chapters 8.48 and 8.5 of the Norwalk Municipal Code, and schedule the ordinance for second reading. This concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions, and Isel from Athens Services is also available to provide additional.
Any questions, Council?
I do.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Gabby, and thank you, Iso, for being here. Just to clarify, this is not the city mandating this on our businesses, correct? This is a result of a state mandate and update of SB 1383 from the state that is then requiring not only residents but businesses to comply to this, correct? And I find it once again, and I have to say it, that the state is mandating these things without providing or having the proper resources to institute and to really support all of these measures, which then result us as cities and businesses to then double down and try to find a workaround to make things happen, correct? So I just want to clarify that. I know our businesses are going to reach out not only to us, but I'm sure to our chamber and to our hauler, to Athens directly. We will do our best we can, as we have in the transition to our residents. we will reach out and do the same to our businesses. But again, this is not a city mandate. This is something that is coming directly from the state. They realized once again that they do not have the adequate resources to comply, and now we're having to find ways to adjust. So thank you for the report, and thank you. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I think that's really important is to be you know, proactive with communicating what this is, what it looks like, and stuff like that. Because I think most of the complaints that I get on anything that's different, that kind of changes the way we're doing stuff, it's kind of because people tuned in late and they missed the front end of it, so then they get the back end of it, and it's like, it's just happened. You know, and I think that's going to be like the most important part of that. And I think that this guy be really proactive in getting the information out there. And I think that people understand that's something that we just need to do now. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of unfunded mandates and all kinds of other stuff, but you know, there's the whole sustainability, you know, issues that we deal with here at the city and whatnot, and we got to make this stuff work. So I totally get it. So yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. ESO, I guess this is towards you, directed towards you. Athens deals with a lot of cities, yes, contracts and what have you. I'm wondering, where do we fall in order of how cities are doing? Because I know that we're doing what we can, but I know that we're falling short, as evidenced in this report. But what are some of the things that the other cities are doing that are in compliance that maybe we can, you know, aspire to? I know that, you know, there's certain things and stuff, but is there something specific, or and really, what is our rank in the cities that you service?
Well, I want to make sure and assure everyone, you guys are way above bar. Okay. So you guys, actually, the city started this in 2018. This law passed in 2016. You guys actually started way before many other cities. Your general population is very well educated when it comes to trash, mainly because you have a series of publications that go out to the residents, and you guys actually invest in your residents and in your businesses to educate them. So we applaud you. You guys are way above bar. So what are other cities doing and going from 2 stream, so mixed waste and organics, to 3 stream, right? Blue, black, and green trash cans, is that they're doing exactly the same. They're putting in the city ordinance, we're doing an amendment, and we're getting everyone to comply. What we also do above and beyond is we have our outreach coordinators to go out to all the businesses to assess what they need. And so we actually knock on their door, we look at their trash, and we see what they need. If they need a bigger or smaller container, we adjust them and right-size them so they can go ahead and get the proper containers that they need. Your businesses are doing a good job, and this will be a transition for all businesses, as it was a transition for all residents, right? We're all doing this. This is state law. Everyone has to do this. And it's just going to take a little bit of time to get adjusted, and we are going to work with people. We don't want to fine people. We just want to educate people as much as possible, and we're going to work with them. So much so, Gabby and city manager and I, we're all going to work together and make sure that right-sizing people and being really proactive and getting the right information out there is necessary. We've already done with the chamber a Let's Talk Trash series, so if anybody wants to log in on that, you go to the Norwalk Chamber of Commerce, and we did a lunchtime education series. Go ahead and check that out, and we have information there too.
Isol, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you give us a sense of the transition timing, just so that we could
Absolutely.
Be aware of that?
Yes. So as you know, this is the first reading, right? Well, this is the first presentation. There'll be a second reading. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and speak to our operations team And what we're going to do is we're going to start a series of education. So every commercial account gets billed monthly. So we're going to send a new letter. If the city wants to sign on to that letter, terrific, because they're more likely to read it if the city signs on to a letter, right? We can put a letter in there. We can put a postcard. We will also do robocalls. But more importantly, as you know, businesses are really busy. They're not going to read the stuff in the letter. That's why we're knocking on their doors. We're going above and beyond, and we're knocking on their doors. So you have about 631 commercial accounts. Commercial accounts. So what does that mean? Shopping centers is one account. Okay, so when you think that's kind of low, it's not that it's low. It's a commercial account because they all share trash. So we have about 520 some businesses that are going to be affected that don't currently have a recycling container. But 500 is not too many. I'm telling you, you guys are way above and beyond most cities. We're going to knock on their door, right size them, and make sure they get what they need and the service they need. So that we'll be doing in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cecil. Thanks, Gabby. I don't think any more questions. Do we?
Move it.
Motion.
Like
Okay, could I have I'm not sure who came in first on the second, but
I believe it was Margarita, I believe, Councilmember Rios.
I think it was a photo finish.
It was ladies. I'll do the roll call now if you'd like.
All right. I think we're ready for the roll call.
Councilmembers Ramirez,
Aye.
Rios, Valencia,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Perez,
Aye.
and Mayor Ayala.
Aye. Yeah, thanks again, Iso. Thanks again, Gabby. Item number 11, Hermosillo Park Rehabilitation Stormwater Capture and Infiltration Project Update. Staff report, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of City Council. This is a receive and file, and we wanted to provide you with an update. Just a quick reminder, it started in 2019, but I will say that I think the park itself has been talked about being renovated for over 20 years.
Yeah, at least.
And you can see specifically the facility that is existing at the park needs a lot of tender loving care. I think the approach that we've taken is we're gonna look at the entire park, and you'll hear the presentation, and it really is the entire park with storm drain capture project that will also be included. And tonight we'll have Alan will begin the presentation. Mr. Alan Perdomo will begin the presentation, and then the technical aspect of the storm water capture will be by our engineers, and they'll give you some stories of what they've gone through as well. So, Mr. Perdomo.
Thank you, Jesus. Good evening, Mayor and Council and everyone in attendance. So today is the Hermosillo Park Rehabilitation Stormwater Capture and Infiltration Project Update. That's a long title. A lot of things going on there. I do have, like Jesus said, we do have Mario Mera Runshan. We also have Steve Leathers from Reyes Construction, and we also have Juan Vergara from Wilton Engineering available for any questions regarding the park landscape element of it, and then also the more technical water infiltration part. So quickly, just go with a little bit of a background on the project. So the park vision started with a master plan back in 2019 with a vision to renovate the park, making it serve as a community hub for the southeast portion of the city. At that moment in time, the top two priorities for the redesigned Hermosillo Park were to construct a new state-of-the-art community center with a banquet hall capacity of 200 people, making it the largest room in the Parks and Recreation Department for rentals. And secondly, two dedicated soccer fields. Here's a couple pictures of those meetings that took place back in Hermosillo Park in the actual community center back in 2019. We have Councilwoman Rios. At that point, she was mayor, I think, greeting and saying some messages to those in attendance. And you can see we have a lot of our tap kits with their tap shirts participating. Here's another picture. That's David Bowles, I believe Mr. Actual David Bowles in design, who was the architect that designed the concept back in that time. And we also have Councilmember Perez addressing some participants. The project scope, the Hermosillo Park Rehabilitation Stormwater Capture and Infiltration Project will entail the installation of a subsurface 11.8 acre-foot infiltration gallery with water reclaimabilities. Above the infiltration system, a new park will be constructed with numerous new recreational amenities designed and selected by the Norwalk community. Upon completion, the project will provide numerous recreation opportunities and serve as a community hub and serve to improve water quality in the Coyote Creek and the San Gabriel River. We have faced some design challenges over close to the last 2 years as we have designed the concept in the park. And the project encountered several technical and regulatory challenges during the design phase, and the completion of design was delayed primarily due to the higher project cost compared to the original 2019 cost estimate. During this process, we were faced with unforeseen expenses associated with the following: site preparation, infrastructure requirements, increased construction material cost. This resulted in a substantial increase of $20 million in the overall project cost from the 2019 cost estimate. The city, luckily, we did receive an additional 9.9 from Measure W funds from the Watershed Area Steering Committee, also known as the WASC, which includes funding for the soccer fields, as Measure W allows for recreational amenities to be charged to the grant if they're incorporated into any water infiltration project. The funding is now being brought for routine approval at the Los Angeles Court of Board of Supervisors meeting scheduled for November of this year. Including the additional Measure W funding, the project budget still is in a deficit of approximately $10 million. Staff is currently working towards securing financing in 3 funding sources we have identified over the upcoming months. Other project design challenges: after evaluation, staff prioritized safety and infrastructure elements to ensure the park remains functional, accessible, and welcoming to the community. For example, the following scope of work affected the overall project costs: flood channel design challenges related to elevation, perimeter wall improvements, and storm drain challenges. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to the engineering staff. They can talk a little bit of each one of those sub-bullets.
If I may just mention that all of the funding is restricted funding. The park funding specifically for park construction, and the stormwater, which is Measure W, was passed by voters, and that is specifically for storm drain capture type of projects. And that's $30 million that was awarded to the city for that portion of that, but it's all restricted money.
First of all, good evening for being here again. I'm always proud to be in this chambers here. What we're reporting. This is an amazing project for the city. It really is. Located in a specific area, geographically, that compared to all of the water mains that run down the city and empty in the oceans, we're at a primary point where there are 2 main lines. One of them happens to occur in the middle of the itself, and the other one.
Mario, I hate to interrupt
You
you,
can
but
hear me?
can you step right in front of the mic for us?
And they have this thing here that says a hand distance. I'm sorry about that. Let me start from the beginning. So the location of the park is actually in a very unique location because it happens to be geographically in an area where you have 2 main storm drains going next to it. One of them happens to be right down the middle of the park. The other one happens to be right to the east of it on the very next main street. So the idea is that you can capture that water, not only capture and treat it and hold any extra excess water, but we're also percolating it. The soils in that area is perfect for percolation. So what does that mean? That means that we'll not only treat water that goes into the ocean, we're also going to try to backfill the groundwater table with water that is filtered through the actual earth the way it naturally does. So we're trying to replenish that. The amount of water that we're collecting is very significant for us, but when you compare the amount of water that culminates in the whole basin of Los Angeles, it's literally a drop in the bucket. But there's a lot of these projects coming on, so this is unique. The park project itself, as we put it into, let me start a little bit. The way we typically build these projects is you design, you bid, and you build it. It happens to be that we have 2 projects, one on top of the other.
So there's a lot of coordination that takes place. So what we did here with our engineering department, Ron helped lead this portion of it with the attorneys. We were able to change the ordinances here to accept what is called design build. And in our particular case, it's called progressive design build. What does that mean? We were able to hire a team, and then by qualifications, a contractor that does this type of work. They hire the designer. They become one team. We become integral part of the design development in that team. But here's the goal, the significant part. By the time you finish 100% design and you have a cost estimate, that cost estimate is not an estimate. It's an actual contractor proposal. So we're shovel ready as soon as we finish design, which is the main reason why the $9.9 million that we got additional out of all of the other vying cities who are trying to get the funds, we were the only ones that were shovel ready. That's amazing, because in the last 5 years that this program's gone on, nobody has done a design build project for this type of work. And today they're thinking about maybe that's the way to go. So you have on the shelf a bunch of projects who are just waiting to get their construction dollars now. That's very significant. Now let's talk about the actual component of the water features there. So that I'm going to give it to Ron. These are the numbers, guys.
All right, good evening, council members. Good evening, Mayor. I'm happy to be here tonight to talk a little bit about the challenges that we faced during the design process of the Hermosillo Park rehabilitation and stormwater capture and infiltration project. So before I delve deep and do a deep dive into this project, I wanted to rehash something I heard at the committee meeting last week with Councilmember Valencia, is that it just dawned on me. Every drop of water that we use, it's not new. There is no new water created. Every water goes through, if you remember back to your school days, through something called a water cycle. So all the water that we use, that we go through using, derive benefit from it, and then we dispose of it, goes back into a capture or some sort of a reservoir, whether it be at rivers, lakes, or the ocean. From there, through evapotranspiration, it makes its way up to the atmosphere, it coagulates into some cloud, and it comes back as rain into the ground. So you think in that terms, Hermosillo Park is only going to be one step in the whole water cycle. To take stormwater that would have just gone straight to the ocean, stormwater that makes its way down to as rain into our land and down into storm channels, and it would just go straight out into the ocean without being captured, infiltrate into the ground, replenish the groundwater table so that it can be pumped back into the water system. What does that mean? That means we are helping elevate our sustainability, contributing to the groundwater table, offsetting some of our water region-wide. And Mario mentioned we are in a unique position for Hermosillo Park because the two main storm drains that goes through the area will capture water from most of Norwalk, if not all, most of Santa Fe Springs, parts of western Whittier. The reason why we got selected from the WASC back in 2020 for funding was because of that. You go outside of Hermosillo, no other opportunity presented. You would have to build 2 stormwater capture systems to derive the same level of benefit. So with that said, there were some challenges in design. Part of the challenge was we have to divert stormwater from the 2 existing storm drains, one going down the middle of the park, the other going down Hoxie Avenue. So we had to approach the agency who owns and operates those storm drains, Los Angeles County Flood Control District. And when our design team approached the county, presented the concept, even though the concept was already developed several years ago with the county involved, the county flood control standards has certain designs, flood control district has certain design standards that stipulate you have to meet before you can connect to their system, divert water, and also pump water back, flow water back as far as discharge. That created some design hurdles for us. There's something called the freeboard. That's what they use to determine the capacity in the stormwater, the existing storm channel. And so we have to maintain a certain level of freeboard in anticipation of, the next 100-year storm, 1,000-year storm. In order to meet that level, we would have to reroute our diversion. We had to add pumps to the project that we didn't anticipate previously. We were anticipating everything to be gravity flow. We also have to meet a certain criteria that came light to the design team of maintaining certain separation between the groundwater table and the stormwater. Specifically, the flood control district requires that the bottom of our subsurface basin needs to be at least 10 foot above the seasonal high groundwater table. What that means is we can't push our stormwater system as deep as we initially intended in the concept plan. So the designers had to go back to the design table, redo the whole concept, look at areas where we could fit the same capacity capture basins, subsurface, while meeting the requirements from flood control district. We looked at a couple different solutions. One of them involved building up the park, significantly building up the park. That didn't work. We looked at flattening out the basins. That means acquiring more, having the basins take up more area underneath. There were different iterations of the design, but I think ultimately when we arrived at a solution with the pumps and the rerouting of the diversion pipe, we were able to satisfy the conditions of our Measure W grant, capturing 11.8 acre foot of stormwater, while also preserving the flexibility to have a soccer field on top of the stormwater system. So that's just the first bullet. The second bullet, a little bit easier, but the perimeter wall improvements. The perimeter wall was not part of the project concept, but as we walked the site with our design engineer, with the park staff, Alan, Mari, and Sonia, as well as Wildan staff and Reyes Construction Inc. staff, we saw close up the degradation of the perimeter wall, the block wall that is bordering the site. And we realized we cannot ignore this item. We have to, if we're here digging up the whole site, building a new stormwater capture system along with a new park on top, we would be remiss if we left the site without, fixing up the walls. We would have a lot of the neighbors really upset at us. So we thought, this is going to be an added cost. So we're going to add it to the project regardless. We're going to be mindful about our costs as well. So we directed the design team, the areas where the walls can be repaired and shored up, let's do that. There was a section of the wall on the east side of the park that's literally leaning. We're going to remove that and replace that. So that's going to be about another, I would say, $400,000, $500,000 add to the project. But it has to be done. And then storm drain challenge. I mentioned the storm diversion pipeline. Right, we changed the alignment based on recommendation of our design engineer. The concept has the diversion pipe from the Horse Avenue storm drain. It was supposed to be diverted down the Allegardi Street. That would have allowed us to, if we had kept the concept in place from the preliminary stages, to gravity flow into our capture base. But because of the whole revision of the whole concept, we had to reroute the diversion pipe down 161st Street. And that means we had to add a couple more pumps that made the whole current concept feasible. That added cost to the project. But more importantly, it also added timeline, time to redesign the whole system. So with that, thank you for listening. Thank you, Alan.
All that means is that we're going to be able to capture water. Thank you. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. I'll continue. So as a result, certain recreational features such as the splash pad, the basketball court, and the handball courts have been postponed to a future park project update at this moment. This will allow the general contractor to have complete site control, which is required for construction, and begin construction on time to ensure a completion date of December 2027. We say December 2027 because it's really critical. We have an absolute hard deadline to get every payment request back to California State Parks by the spring of 2028, or we forfeit getting reimbursed millions of dollars back. So we have very serious deadlines that could put the project at jeopardy because of procurement and reimbursement timelines. We recognize the importance of these recreational features to our community, and we'll continue to explore opportunities to enhance the park as funding and resources become available. Here's a quick view on the timeline. We're going to go back, and then we're going to go until the actual ribbon cutting. So we go back to January 2019 when California State Parks opened Prop 68. We held community meetings from April through September of 2019. I showed those in slide, I believe, 3 and 4, some of the participants drawing those concepts. Then in March of 2020, the city was awarded the Measure W funds for the infiltration project. December of 2021, we received Prop 68, that's $8.5 million. Then January of last year, the city council awarded Reyes Construction with an aggressive design build agreement that Mario and Run just described. On June 18th last year, we did our first city council update. And in July 11th, we did the first Parks and Recreation Commission update on this project. We also launched a friendly URL called My Future Park. So that is sort of the marketing behind this project. We want our residents to take ownership of the project. So it's called myfuturepark.org. And that takes you to our park projects, a webpage that we're currently developing to highlight all of our park projects that we have done, we're doing, and we plan to do in the future. Then we go to March 11 of this year. Mario just mentioned the WAPs approved an additional 9.9, bringing our total to 30 million for Measure W. The ROC approved that in 2025. And now we're in the queue for the LA County Board of Supervisors to approve the SIP, which is Stormwater Investment Program, and also authorize the execution of transfer agreements. At that same time in November, we plan to bring a construction agreement for risk construction for the City Council to consider approval based on the LA County Board of Supervisors meeting approving that additional $9.9 million. Some upcoming dates, we hope to schedule a groundbreaking ceremony in December of this year. And then from December of 2025 to the spring of 2028, the site will be under Reyes Construction as they will build the park. And then hopefully in spring of 28, we plan to have a beautiful ribbon cutting, invite the community out and show them this new park. So that is sort of looking back and then looking forward a couple years. And it's really critical that if everything goes according to plan, and it will, is we're going to open this park right before the Olympics, which will be a great thing to open some great recreational amenities to our community. This is very exciting. I think these conceptual designs have not been seen by many individuals, so I'm very excited to showcase this to everyone here. Here is an aerial view of the current park. To the right, you have a concept design. One thing I want to mention, the major distinction you notice is a large parking on the south end of the park, so a lot more parking than currently exists. Here's what the current community center building looks like. And if you can see, it has a capacity for 80 people in banquet style, and it's only about 1,200 square feet. And here is a view of the front view of the community center. The banquet will be double the size of our current banquet at 3,000, close to 3,200 square feet. And that's just the banquet hall. The total building is close to, it's over 8,000 square feet. And it will hold a banquet hall for 200 max people. It will have an accordion wall, so you can separate that. So then you can have 2 individual meeting groups of 100 banquet. But then when you look at auditorium, that number goes up. So that's a great thing. Interior and exterior restrooms, a catering kitchen, a snack bar, an outdoor terrace. You'll see a picture of that shortly. Employee office for our recreation staff, a public safety substation, and equipment storage for all the things that this park's going to need. Here's a back view of the building. We mentioned that patio. It's right here, those chairs behind to your right. Here is another aerial view of the building. Now let's look at the multi-purpose fields. That's how the current multi-purpose, which are predominantly used for soccer reservations, looks like. Here is a conceptual. And one thing you want to notice is in the middle, we created this gradient. So it creates like a spectator viewing area. And then shade is really important. As you know, none of our parks have sufficient shade. This park changes that moving forward, and it will be a critical point of our park development. You can see there is a shade, and those are the actual shade structures that we plan to install at the park. The next, I want to show the amphitheater. This is currently how it looks like, and this is the proposed amphitheater. So it would be tiered, seating. So I think it would create that effect. And as you know, that is home to our Tudo Sanchez Parade. It is kind of where we do the awards, and we can even see concerts in the park being held in that part of the city in the future. Moving on to the current playground, we currently have a playground at Hermosillo. It will be relocated to Vista Verde. We do have a PID that currently does not have a playground. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to install a playground that is going to be cohesive with the design and the aesthetics of the new design. So the new playground will be all soccer theme. The next slide shows the current pit at Vista Verde Park that's open. We plan to relocate that there once the park closes. But here are a couple concepts of the playground. Again, shade structures. We're going to incorporate those everywhere. So we want to, if there was a hot day, we want to make sure our kids are have enough shade when they're enjoying this beautiful playground structure. Here's another close-up picture. As you can see, as you zoom in, there's a lot of soccer details everywhere because it will be home to our first 2 soccer fields. Parking lots. We currently have 19 total spaces. The new park will have 137. You can see 118 standard parking spaces, 6 ADA, 1 ADA with EV, 4 EV, and then 8 city staff spaces. Now I'm going to hand it over once again to Mara so he can talk about the stormwater infiltration project and kind of describe some of these pictures.
Okay, understood. So these chambers, this is going to be a cut and cover structure. That means we dig down, build a concrete structure, backfill it, and then everything happens on top. So in order to do that, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to excavate. We're estimating about 50,000 cubic yards of soil. It'll be a 3-month process thereabouts, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. We'll have an excavation support system around the area that's going to be the dig out to create the opening, if you will. And then to create the chambers to collect the water, we're going to use these precast sections here. This is there's many companies that do this, but we saw this particular design at Whittier Park, Adventure Park. They were building this with the same team, Reyes, and they gave us the ability to take a tour. These chambers have columns, basically, with that you put together, one on top of the other. You create the chambers, you put them together, and water flows into the chambers and collects and fills up, right? One of the things about the chambers, however, is they do need maintenance. At some point in time, someone's going to have to go in there and do some work, right? Some of the other designs have walls that you have to walk through. And in that darkness and in that constrained area, it's not as efficient as this design is. So we selected this design to go into Hermosillo. These will be precast off-site. They'll be brought in at the time of installation. The contractor will fit all the pieces together, literally like a puzzle. All the pieces are designed to go to specific areas, but the majority of the pieces are identical, so they'll fit in a lot of the void spaces, if you will. It's a really amazing design, I think, and after seeing it actually in place and tangibly being there, it was, I think, a no-brainer. This is a good design. Anything else you want to add?
For frame of reference, there's 2 units stacked on top of each other. The top one is it, the bottom one is upside down. The 2 pegs at the third of the column that Mario mentioned, the manufacturer can make these individual modules anywhere from 4 to 14 feet. You stack them on top of each other, approaching 30 feet high. So imagine that's double as tall as the house.
Can I have? Ours are going to be 8 feet tall with both caps on top of each other, and that'll be the void to capture all the water that comes in there throughout the spread of it, if you will.
We will have one significant difference from this installation over at Adventure Park. Adventure Park system was a capture-only system. We're going to have capture and infiltration, so we're going to have an open bottom subsurface basin. So imagine the top half placed underground, and then the water's going to be collecting underneath this basin and percolating as water does, as soil.
Thank you. So next off, we have the communication plan. So we have a couple of ways we're going to keep the community informed. We have a dedicated My Future Park at Norwalk CA email, so you can send us an email. Someone's looking at it, they'll reply back to you. We also have a lot of marketing material that we've been working on, and we're excited to get that out shortly. So we have project fact sheets, we have notifications to all the affected neighbors and communities. So we have a lot of material that we're going to be putting out, not just to inform about the project, but to also educate about stormwater sustainability and all the features of the park moving forward. We talked about the friendly URL, myfuturepark.org. We also have a lot of standard social media video reels and marketing material that we're working on that we have designed. We're going to be able to roll out over the next 2 years as the project continues. We're very excited by community site tours. There's an elementary right across. So my intent is maybe, I don't know, Mario, we have the next civil engineer across from there learning, and we're going to, it'll be our next civil engineer here in the city of Norwalk, so we might change the kids' future. We also have community outreach meetings, which would be general impact for anyone is welcome to come. And then we will also have direct impact, which would be the homes that directly are affected by the project. So again, we talked about education opportunities, site tours with community at large, and Sanchez Elementary School. And then the next one is a map of the general community meetings, that it's the site location, and everyone's invited to these meetings. We'll be having them every other month into the duration of the project. And then we have our direct impact meetings where we're going to meet once a month with, you see the red boundary with those homes that are directly affected because they border the park, soil, sound. So we want to make sure that we are addressing any concerns with them as this project, progresses over the next 2 years.
Alan, and also I just wanted to add, the contractor himself as a member of the team that also helps with the community outreach and things of that nature. So from all sides, there's somebody helping out with communication.
Yeah, we have a dedicated marketing firm that's helping us with this project. And then if you go to the, almost finished with the presentation, our project funding, just to recap, we have a little bit over $30 million secured for Measure W. We have 8.5 from California State Parks, Prop 68. And then we have about 4.6 of our Measure A Regional Park and Open Space District money. That's money that's administered through the county, Los Angeles Parks and Recreation County Department. So it brings our total to 43. We still have a gap, but we have identified many funding sources that we're going to be pursuing, applying, and we also have some other Measure A cash flow that comes in over the next 2 years on this project. So with that being said, that's all I have. But before I hand open your questions, I do want to thank Mario Run. I do want to thank Maudi, Sonia, they're right behind me. And I want to thank the city manager's office. It's been a very exciting project. It's been exciting for me to work and talk to residents about this project. And I'm looking forward for the ribbon cutting. And sometimes gonna go by fast, I'm sure it will. So with that being said, I'm available for any questions the council might have.
Colleagues, comments, questions? Margarita?
Thank you for that presentation. And I'm glad that you all provided a timeline because this was started over 5 years ago. And when in 2019, when I was fortunate enough to be mayor, and we were leading this project, but one of the things that we did leave out is, I know at the time I was able to attend a conference through CivicWell. They had a grant that they offered for $40,000. I don't know if you remember that, Jesus. And so we actually went after that grant, and that money was how we were able to implement our community outreach because it was so important. And again, we're talking, we need dollars, right? So we were able to also draw from that grant to do our community outreach because it was so, so important. And so I love everything that we've talked about. The timeline, thank you for that. But what I wanted to make sure that we get this as right as we can. It kind of reminds me of that song, Eminem song. The, what's it called? Anyways, gosh darn it. You only get one shot. You only get one shot. That's part of the lyric. You only get one shot. And we know that time is money. Really, time is money. And so when we talk about this specific project, which I think we're all really, really excited about, there's a couple of things that I noted. So if we can go back to the conceptual design, let me start there. And I don't know if I saw it in this presentation, but I know in the materials that were provided to council, there was actually a list of the trees that are being proposed. I didn't see that here, unless I missed it. Alan, I don't know if I missed it there.
No, you are correct. It is not in the PowerPoint. We wanted to, I had to crop that because the image wasn't looking good. I wanted to provide a current aerial to existing. But yes, the attachment on the agenda report does have a palette of trees.
Yes.
And other amenities on your right and left column.
Yes. And so that's why I wanted the landscape architect to be here, because I had some specific questions about why they chose those specific trees. And I wanted to know that. Are they here? Because I know I requested that they be here to answer some questions. I've got to hear straight from the architect.
Juan Vergara, and the reason these trees were selected was for their drought tolerance adaptability and their resiliency to any pests. So they have been shown to have strong endurance in heat and in drought. So that was the reason they were chosen.
Okay. I think I probably already knew that that was most likely going to be the answer. But when we're thinking tree canopy, you know, we're talking about a park. And I know that one of the things that I'm very concerned about is making sure that we only got one shot, that we actually choose the appropriate landscape specific to tree canopy. And I know I've been told that when we look at park landscape, we can actually go bigger because of the space. You know, there's not as much of a concern about tree root, etc. And these trees that you proposed are, although they're nothing new to the city, I see them throughout the city, they're all right. They're not the best. Some are drought tolerant, but they don't provide much shade. And so when I think shade at a park, I'm thinking oak trees, I'm thinking the bigger type trees that eventually are gonna provide a beautiful tree canopy, shade. We need shade. These don't provide shade. So what are we gonna do about shade?
Okay, I actually share your vision. I do. One thing we need to remember about this particular park is we do have some constraints. And so I'd say we look at it the way we're seeing it right now. Anything that's the soccer field, underneath those, we're going to have chambers for the water, so that constrains your depth. But we can certainly look at the trail around it. There's going to be a trail that goes all the way around that, right? See how big a canopy trees you can put there. I think where we need to focus on bigger trees is going to be up at the front area. Yeah, right where the green area is, more or less. We're trying to preserve a lot of that area, by the way, for a future basketball court or a handball court. That's what see the green lawn? That area is meant for that. But we can certainly attempt to put some more things in there. So I guess the best message is this: as we get closer to the landscape, I think we need to look at that a little bit more carefully and more strongly, and work with you. I mean, you have a vision as well. You know,
Yeah.
we want to make sure that we can capture that as best as possible.
Well, I mentioned that because I know one of the big feedback, or some of the feedback that we received, and I think we all have seen this, is that Hermosillo Park traditionally has been a gathering place for the community, their neighboring community. It's their neighborhood park. It's where they go to, play in the playground, but it's also where they go find a shady tree to sit under. They go have their barbecues. They go have their family gatherings, set up tables, chairs, etc. I think for the most part, most of our parks should, I think that's the draw, and that's the memory that we look for and that we create. And so if we don't have shade, if we don't have big, beautiful, healthy trees that are giving shade, well, I mentioned that, but I'm glad that you're listening, Mario, and I hope that you guys look at that, because we can't have a nice park without shade.
As I'm standing here listening and envisioning, I'm thinking there's going to be a combination of shade structures, like shade sails, and trees. We're going to have to work with both of those to create the shade areas that you're talking about. And I agree with that. Those are gathering areas.
Yes.
That you do have automatically in the center between the two soccer fields, but those are man-made shade areas, which it's nice too. But I'd also like to see some of the trees myself. So let us work a little bit more on that.
Yes, please.
And have a proposal for you guys.
Yeah,
at some
again,
point.
we only get one shot.
No.
The other thing that I wanted to mention is when we talk about the auditorium space, with the elevated seating, concrete seating, the one thing that came to mind for me on that one, because I've seen it, that may be an attraction for skateboarders. And I've seen those, the way some parks avoid that or gathering spaces avoid that is they have these metal inserts, you know, so that.
Yeah,
the
we can do that.
So just a consideration, again, you only get one shot. I don't want this to become an issue where, you know, skateboarders are taking over the park, messing up the whatever. I mean, I don't mind skateboarders. That's a healthy, active, you know, activity for our kiddos, but keep that in mind.
We surely will. And that also occurs in these little
Yes.
curbs here. Those are details that we have to work out moving forward. Right now, the general plan has all the concept, right? As we go through the final 100% design, which we should have here by October this year, next month, we'll address all of those details.
Okay, and why was the selection of, what was the parking space? I mean, I know we need more parking space, but I'm just wondering how we came up to that number, and if there was a consideration to develop more of the park versus implement that parking, the amount of parking that we're doing.
So I think
What's the,
one thing to consider, with a 200 people capacity, that's a lot of people. So I'll give you an example. The Sprout, the most we can hold is 160. And when we have reservations, the CAC and the Norwalk parking is completely packed. And then you're gonna mention so our 2 soccer fields are Division I regulation, and under certain FIFA regulations, even non-international competition, which means that you're gonna be able to attract the major tournaments. Now, if you have 11 versus 11 on 2 fields, 22-44, and then parents and kids, and then 200 people, you're looking at over, you know, a lot more cars than what we actually have parking spaces. And the neighborhood already deals with a lot of parking constraints. We didn't want people taking away some of the residential parking when you have all these large things. So that's really the reason for it.
okay, well, and that makes sense, but it also brings me back to my point of not taking anything away from the residents who are, you know, this is their neighborhood park. I think it's great we're getting soccer fields, because that was a big one that we all heard loud and clear. We need some soccer fields, so I think that's so long overdue, and I love it. But again, I don't want to come across an issue where the neighborhood feels like, you know, they've been kind of pushed out because there isn't that gathering space they're accustomed to. There isn't the tree canopy they're accustomed to. We have to really find a good balance, okay? A really good balance. And then the other thing I was going to mention on the splash pad, how much do we really need that? And I'll tell you why. Because as I drove around this summer to the different parks that we had splash pads at during hours of operation, it was kind of sad to see that the water was running and there was no kids in the splash pad. None. Yeah. So sad, especially around Ramona Park. And so I'm like, that's so unfortunate. You know, there's no kiddos at the splash pads. Alan, what do you think?
So we actually don't have a splash pad. That's one of the amenities that was removed due to the cost. So this park does not have a splash pad. But I will mention, at our other parks, we don't have splash pads. We have spray pools. So they're 2 different amenities.
What's the one at Ramona?
They're spray pools.
Okay,
we
well,
don't have
empty
splash
spray
pads.
pools.
Yeah, so splash pads, it's kind of the new modern system. They're supposed to be a 9,000-gallon circulation system that's built on the ground. It cleans the water, recycles it. And then you have a lot of like the shooter with the gun and the bucket. Those are traditionally spray pads. I mean, spray pools. And then, I'm sorry, splash pads. Spray pools are just more like a little, I don't know, something just with water. So it isn't as exciting as the new modern splash pads that you see at other parks.
Well, okay. I get what you're saying, but I'm just giving you, again, some food for thought. You know, I mean, the spray pools were empty, and it's unfortunate. So
but
again, looking at the, you know, level of, you know, of what we're bringing, interest for the community to actually make the most use of, and really, you know, something that they really, you know, want and will enjoy and will have fun at. I just want to make sure, again, we only get one shot. And I'm sure you've already covered the lighting, right, Mario? And the lighting, safety, initiative.
Okay, so a couple of things on safety. The community building, we'll have a dedicated public safety office with windows overseeing the entire park, number one. We'll also have an office there for recreation personnel. Then there's going to be the trail all the way around the park with lighting, making sure we have the proper light candles as far as brightness, where at night it'll be nice and bright while people are using it. We're also going to add dimmers. When the park is closed, the lights will still be on but dim, but there'll be motion and detection systems on it. So when someone walks around the park, those lights will brighten up for a certain amount of time. That makes it easy for the police officers driving by or anyone to see, hey, somebody's in that area, far in the park, wherever. So the lighting is going to be arranged that way. And then the last thing is cameras. We're adding cameras all over the place. As a matter of fact, as we're talking here, I'm talking to Ron and going like, I think we're going to need more cameras in this area or in that area than we think at the moment. So those are the safety features that we're putting into place here. Plus the entrances to the park, we're going to have 2 entrances now, nice wide ones that'll make any emergency equipment be able to come in quickly. So all those things have been thought of, and we've actually discussed it and walked it through with staff here in the city and the designers themselves, the whole team.
No, thank you so much for all the work that the staff, leadership team has been doing. I know Jennifer also attended some of those early meetings that we had, community meetings and outreach that we did. We did a lot of it back in 2019. So I'm glad that you guys are listening to the community, but you're also listening to what the council has to say, because again, we are part of the community as well, and we see and experience a lot of the same things that our residents do. And so I'm really excited about all the improvements we've been doing to our parks. It's very long overdue, so I definitely look forward to
Thank you very much.
seeing this.
Yes,
Yes, Alan,
we're proud of this. All of us are.
as you
If I
should
might
be.
add- If I can
Alan
add
had
one-
something to
if I can
say.
add more comment regarding your tree
Oh, yeah, that
request.
reminded me.
So just one thing to note, I think one distinction that is good to mention is, Hermosillo, it wasn't designed, at least when I look at the park, with soccer fields in mind first. It was designed as a park with open space. And if you ever played soccer at Hermosillo, some of the corner kicks are at an angle. So you have trees that are sort of a corner
Yes.
kick, a goalpost. This park, because it will be 2 dedicated soccer fields with lines and designed as a stadium, you kind of can't build the trees around it. So what we did, if you
Yeah.
look at the entrance where the parking, where there's currently no trees, so we put a massive entrance of trees so we can incorporate that.
This picture that I'm looking at?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, can you go to the concept, Audrey?
But those are not any of the picture, those are trees that are listed on the list. That's not,
I'm
those are
sorry.
not.
So if you see the concept, you see where the parking entrance is.
Yes, yes.
Closer to the street, you see all the trees there. Currently, those
Yes.
don't exist. So that's why we try to put a lot of trees where we know, unfortunately, because of the sports complex, soccer fields, it's going to be difficult to put them around there because you also have LED lighting and you also have athletic netting so the
Yes.
balls don't go into the adjacent homes and, be breaking windows and things of that nature, right? So you have a lot of restricted things as well. But if you look at, one thing I wanted to point out, I think it's very exciting.
Yes.
If you look at the canopies and shade structures in between the middle of both fields, each one of those shade has its own picnic bench with seating. So you're going to have, I think, a total of 10 picnic benches with seating that you can sit there barbecue besides the spectator that are right below the bleachers. So we put a lot of shade structures because we also know we don't have trees. I just want to mention, we're going to look at the trees, but I mentioned that because of the design, it would be a little bit challenging.
Okay,
So the-
just, I know, and just, though, as I mentioned, just please work on that fine balance of making sure that community still feels like this is their community park, that they can continue to enjoy the activities they're accustomed to, but, improved. And then the last thing I'll ask is, what are we doing with the existing trees? I hope there's a plan, a good plan. No, no
so,
firewood.
I mean,
no.
I'll answer this one.
What are we doing with the
So,
exist?
no,
Is
we're-
that a question for our landscape, or who's?
Yes.
What considerations are we making for those trees? I love our employees and our trees.
So there is a, the tree master plan says basically remove a tree, plant 2 trees. I think that's for the right of way, because in a park you want to add something big. I think we want to keep whatever is from an arborist point of view, something that can be kept. If it's going to be something that is going to not survive by moving it or it's already older, because all the trees have life cycles, we'd rather get a new tree. So
I
that-
hope we
that-
can save some
If
of
I
them.
may
so-
add-
so- Something like that.
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense, but we need to do an assessment first with the arborist and then see where we can plant these bigger trees.
I appreciate it. Thank you
know,
for,
I
thank you
think,
for
you
your
know, when-
time. Thank you
when
for
it
your
comes- when it
patience.
I have a
comes
question
to-
before you
When it
leave.
comes to the trees, Mario, it's, I think that, I still remember going to Norwalk Park when I was a kid where all those trees were already 100 years old. So my question is, once we decide what trees we might want to see there, what's the possibility of buying some trees that are already mature trees, so we're not all 100 years old by the time the thing gets to being a shade tree? Because with some of the, like in some of our parks, some of those trees are so young that they may be a shade tree, but it's not going to be anytime soon.
I see what you mean. That type of thing, I think we need to deal with the arborist as well.
Yeah.
What is the growth rate and what is the canopy width?
When you're talking about the final plan in October, what?
Well,
what are-
that's the engineering plans
Oh, okay.
for the buildings, the
But I mean,
elevations, the
council-
grades and all of that. The plant palette itself,
Yeah,
that's further out on the road.
okay.
Yeah, so
Because
there's
I
time,
just
there's
wanna
there's
make
time,
sure,
there's time for
'cause
that. It's not like you approve the plans, you can't
I
change the
think
tree,
all
right?
I think all my colleagues have, you
What we
know,
can do is-
certain things that they're interested in this park, and we just need to make sure that everybody's point of view up here is, you know,
I get it.
as part of
I
that.
actually
as part
feel
of
that.
that final.
One of the things we can do is, as we progress with the project schedule, that's the milestone points where we can get back to you guys and say, okay, we need to decide A, B, C, or D. I think that'll be helpful.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a
Thank you,
question before
Mayor.
you leave.
Yeah.
You know, I think we have to be practical when we do these study sessions and these community outreach to design our parks. You know, as we're modernizing, right? There's things that we need to move forward in, and I understand the tree canopy and the shade, but when they design this, they designed it based on the needs of the community, which was the 2 soccer fields. And sometimes, you know, mature trees or shade trees just don't work for the project unless you make that a main focus when you initially start the study process, right? You have to keep in mind, if that's where you want, then let's work around the trees, not the soccer fields. Also, too, I want to mention, I want to find out, what are we doing? I know we invested a lot of time, money and efforts in the community Wi-Fi. How is that being implemented in the park?
So the Park Connect is full functioning at all the parks except for Robert White Park. So I can probably run an analytic diagnosis exam, report, and try to get so many people log in on a weekly basis and go back and share that with the city council. I wouldn't have those numbers.
Yeah, because I know that was a priority when we did that project, the community Wi-Fi, and I know they did a lot of time and effort in spotlighting this. It's getting too late for me. Spotlighting this at Hermosillo Park. So I want to make sure that we're not wasting money, you know, and having to call that company back out to implement it, to bring it up to what we want. So we have to do a lot of consideration when we do our park master plan and get our priorities in check as well. Thank you.
Mayor, I just have one quick comment. When we're talking about starting the project and bringing up the amounts of soil that is going to take in order to go through with the storm drain infiltration project, et cetera, I really hope that we're looking at protecting the residents and the people that are walking by, driving by. If that soil's just sitting there, it's going to fly, it's going to spread. And I know one of the things when we were doing the remediation at the tank farm, they had a covering over, a very, very strong covering over the soil and the piles, so that way it would not disturb the residents. I hope we're thinking the same sort of process.
There's been a lot of thought on that.
Thank you.
Okay, but one thing is hauling, one thing is collecting it, taking it out. One thing is transporting it.
Yeah.
So we're looking at traffic control plans for transporting, staging areas, the hauling of the whole route. That's the whole thing.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to move it. Oh, receive and file. We're good.
All right. Thank you, Maureen. Okay, next item is oral communications. We have Jesse Hernandez.
On? Oh, there it is. Good evening, Mayor Ayala, Vice Mayor Perez. My name is Jesse Hernandez. I just wanted to come up here and just express some of my feelings towards what's going on right now between the city and the employees of the city of Norwalk. As you know and you're aware, we've been doing negotiations for the last 8 months, trying to come to an agreement, a simple agreement, just to take care of residents and also something feasible for the city of Norwalk. We're not here to break you. We're just trying to meet something happy, something in the middle. I've expressed my feelings to some of the council and also some residents and with the negotiating team for the several months. And as you're aware, we've been at a standstill. There's a word out there which we are both not wanting to do, which is a strike. That will hurt both parties. And that's something that, as an employee, lifelong resident of Norwalk, I've never seen this happen. I hope it doesn't happen, but I just feel that with the support of the city council, also support of city manager, Jesus, we could come to some kind of agreement, something that's going to be fair. We're not asking for much. We are the heart and the soul of the city. And unfortunately, we are the ones that make this lovely, beautiful city go around. I'd hate to see everything stop. And it will hurt everybody. It'll hurt the residents. And that's the biggest thing. It'll hurt the kids. It'll hurt the seniors. It'll hit, we have our programs that are going on in the parks. And it will be at a standstill. We are united. The employees they're all in. I just want your support, and hopefully you take a look at the big picture. I know there's two sides to everything. I've known a lot of you for many years. I'm a straight shooter. I'm just coming to you and I'm pleading for you to understand both parties and just hopefully come to some kind of agreement to make both parties happy and take care of our employees. That's basically what I'm looking at. Thank you, guys.
All right, Sarah?
Hi, good evening. I just want to say before I start that I support the city workers and all of the demands, like they said. They do make the city run. My kids have done classes with the city, with some of the people that are here, and it's been wonderful, so they deserve fair wages. I do want to talk about briefly just the ongoing ICE raids that are happening in Norwalk and our surrounding cities. I know the rates have slowed down, particularly in Norwalk recently, but they're still continuing across the county and in our neighboring cities. Agents are continuing to operate masked, unidentified, and irrationally, and it's no telling when they're going to begin again here in Norwalk, putting our residents in danger. There's a video that was recorded last week of ICE agents leaving their staging area in Terminal Island. They are recorded being said, as they're leaving the staging area, saying, "A kidnapping, we will go," to the people recording them. So I just want to let that sink into you guys for a second. They said, a kidnapping, we will go, right? So they're openly mocking the people that they're traumatizing. They're also openly talking about what they're doing. And I think that says a few things, right? It shows how bold they feel right now. And it also shows their lack of humanity. They're not only encouraged by this administration the presidential administration that has showed their lack of humanity of their time in office, but they're also encouraged by those that have not stood up against them and their cruelty. So it's becoming clear that those that have not stood up against them are also showing their lack of humanity. And I urge you as city council members to reflect on how you want your residents, who you are elected to support, how you want them to feel, and what you want your legacy as city council members to be. So again, just because the rates have slowed down in our city does not mean that our neighbors are no longer living in fear and that they're not going to be in danger. I urge you to do what's right and humane, pass ordinances that makes Norwalk a sanctuary city. Also, have funds that support your residents by establishing funds for those who have been impacted by ICE. And lastly, protecting all residents by having ordinances that make agents unmasked and identified. Thank you again, and again, I support our city workers. Thank you.
Sandra Phillips. Sandra Phillips.
Good evening. I've been sitting there. We've been here. We are the drivers that run the city. Some of us have to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Some routes start at 2 and 3 in the morning. Make sure that the city is running. You guys spent all this time. Give us 2 to 3 minutes. That is letting us already know you don't appreciate us. We care about our community. I don't live out here. I get up at 3 o'clock every day, which takes me round trip almost 200 miles every day. They coming, but not to put up with people who don't affect us. We keep the city running, all of us, different departments of the city. But you guys act like you don't appreciate us for what we do for the city. If we're getting up, making sure people's kids, families, and everybody is going where they need to go, we should have some kind of peace of mind that we can take care of our family without having to struggle every day. I spend almost $600 a month. That's taken away from my life. But I enjoy driving. I enjoy being at work. But it seems like you guys don't appreciate us. We weren't included in the budget. I don't understand that. If it wasn't for us as drivers, orange shirt people that, go around the city, social workers, recreation people, and everybody else in our category, the city would be shut down. Because we do everything out here. Put up with a lot of crap, but we still come to make sure the job. But we don't get appreciated. We get no kind of raise. It's been told several times that we are not appreciated. We don't deserve. Why don't we deserve to get a raise? Our medical bills, our mortgage. We have a family too. So if big shot people can get a raise, why can't we for our family? And that's the way I see it, because I get up every day, 3 o'clock in the morning, to be here, to make sure that I do my job, to take what I obligated, get an oath. So I don't think that's all of us as union or employees. We're city employees also.
Diego R.
Hello, my name is Diego Rubalcaba Alvarez, former employee from 2018 to 2022. Here supporting the union members asking for what they deserve. First, just a point, I apologize if I caused any confusion to city staff when giving some comments about the Brown Act. I want to make sure the mayor understands that Government Code 954.3 requires public comments be allowed before the city council considers any action. So, I mean, not that you technically violated the Brown Act unless anybody waiting to speak is speaking on an agenda item specifically, but I just think in the future, you should consider announcing, are there any public comments on these agenda items? Otherwise, if anybody in line here wanted to speak about something you already voted on, you would have violated, again, Government Code 54954.3. And I know you all care about the city. You know how the city operates with the help of a lot of the city employees, obviously. It's good being back here. I see a lot of coworkers I used to work with. And like the mayor said, the public sends complaints, right, about their sidewalks, about their streets. You need city staff to keep those things maintained. You can't just backfill with consultants because you need city staff to manage consultants. Personal reasons, I wish. A good city to work with, good people here. But a lot of people did leave the city. Like I said, I was here about 4 years. I kept seeing, it was so sad. It seemed like every month there was a going away party for, employees, good employees in the city of Norwalk who wanted to do good work. But as a city council, you need to, and I'm sure you're all trying, hopefully you all want to prioritize your city employees. I know many of you sought endorsements from this employees union in the past and may seek endorsements in the future. You need to, so I'm sure you have good intentions to keep people having decent standards of living, but maybe just ask your city staff for more creative ways. Are there special funds that can go towards staff time? Are there grants that can go towards staff time? Because projects are great, but you need city staff to get them done well and on time. So, thank you all.
Hassan? Hassan?
Good evening. I just want to start by saying I stand in solidarity with our city workers. Hold strong in your negotiations, and I expect that the city of Norwalk will meet all your demands. I recognize that you guys are the backbone of the city and crucial to keeping it running. Maybe we should the government should take that money that they're giving to ICE and maybe, put it to good use. ICE is still roaming the streets of LA County, and according to Tom Homan, the director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, he promised that activity would ramp up after Labor Day. We cannot let this be the new normal. This is something that is not just happening in downtown LA. It's happening in Paramount, Whittier, Pico Rivera, and our city here in Norwalk. There have been at least 4 abductions that have happened within the city that I'm aware of, and plenty of sightings. We need to unify as a community to help our undocumented neighbors. I, along with other community members, have been attending city council meetings since June, asking the city council members to implement ordinances that would push back on these inhumane and unconstitutional raids. And the only council member who has been willing to have a discussion about this is Councilmember Rios, and I thank you for that. We must ask ourselves why. Surrounding cities have legally pushed back against ICE. We have been asking North to do the same. The demands are an ordinance that requires federal law enforcement to be identifiable and unmasked. We have seen countless impersonators cause terror in other cities because of this practice. A fund for families affected by the ICE raids with dollar amount included. We have heard stories from community members who are afraid to leave their home due to the raids, and this would help alleviate any economic burdens incurred by the raids. We want Norwalk to attach their name to the lawsuit put forth against the current administration by Los Angeles, Santa Monica, Culver City, Pasadena, Pico Rivera, Montebello, Monterey Park, and West Hollywood. An alert system that notifies residents when ICE is operating within city limits. Finally, we want Norwalk to declare itself a sanctuary city, which would prevent ICE from using city property and prevent its city employees from working with ICE. These demands are not radical or unreasonable. All we are asking for is for transparency and accountability. I remind you that these are policies other cities have taken, so why hasn't Norwalk? I urge the community members present here today to get involved in any way you can. It's going to take all of us working together to keep each other safe. Thank you.
Janelle Fitch. We have a Janelle Fitch.
Thank you for having me. I am the transit in case you know, I'm the safety and training coordinator. I train people to be safe out here on these roads and to help save the community monies or the city monies. I hope there's signs saying fair wages. I think that we need to look at equitability. I don't think that it's fair that the top earners receive 5% every year and you plan to give the lower income raisers a 3% increase. That is not equitable at all. And I've heard that they're trying to look at replacing us with cheaper staffing. You're gonna get what you pay for. But you talk about how much you appreciate the community and how much you care about your community. We take care of the community and we need you to take care of us and treat us as if we are as important as you claim you care about the community. We help this thing work. Without us, I know you guys think it may, or some of you may think that we're so easily replaceable. We're not. We're not. And even some of the people who make the six figures, they're replaceable as well. Now, who do you replace them with? That's up to you. It may be somebody who's more worthy, or maybe be someone who's less worthy. But I know my value, and I know that I deserve to have what's equitable. And I thank you for listening, and you have a wonderful evening.
Amber Morales. Is there an Amber Morales out there? Amber Morales. Okay. Then
Hello, my name is Amber Morales. I'm an employee of the city. I work for the city of Norwalk, but also the Norwalk-La Mirada School District. Good evening, Mayor and Council. In numerous city council meetings, I've heard countless praises given to the Recreation Department for great programming and their hard work at city events. I've been on this very floor shaking your hands for years with gratitude. I've worked for the city of Norwalk within the Recreation Department for 20 years because I love what I do. Although I am one person among the 60% of employees who are capped out on the salary schedule with no foreseeable wage increase. During negotiations, I urge you to please consider the strong workforce at the forefront whom are working the amazing programming offered by the city of Norwalk. I urge you to please value your employees as we value the community that we serve, not only with your words, but by offering equal rights and fair wages across the board. I work at a school and I teach my students to value and respect the janitor as much as they do the principal. Thank you.
Lorena Valago. Lorena Valagro.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Lorena Velasco. I've been employed with the city since 2001. I'm pretty sure you already know why we're here. We are asking for economic justice. It is very disappointing and heartbreaking to see that our city council is not willing to offer the employees a fair contract. Again, I have 24 years working here in the city of Norwalk. Never have I seen an unfair contract offered like this. What makes council and head directors more deserving of a raise? All Norwalk employees are feeling the financial pressures of the raising costs and the cost of living. What I get paid an hour, I could get a loaf of bread, a carton of eggs, a gallon of milk, and if I'm lucky, I get to pick maybe an apple and an orange. You know, I love working for here. I'm proud to be an employee. I love saying I work for the city of Norwalk. I love my commuters. Oh my God, their family. I've seen them turn from kids to mothers to grandmas. And you know, little do they know what's to come. And it hurts me to see that, you know, that, I don't know, do you guys even think of what it would do to the community? I'm in disbelief. I have always seen the city as a big wheel. It spins. For it to spin, I've always thought we all work together. From the top to the bottom, we're all one. And I'm not seeing that. Aren't your goals the same as your employees? Our residents, our business, the people coming in to handle their affairs here? You know, Norwalk is known as a connected community. Where is that right now? You're not taking care of your employees. The park, amazing. It does need shade and it does need a slash pad. I live here, so I understand there's beautiful parks. That's just gonna be a gigantic same park. But take care of your employees, the ones that are gonna service that park and that are gonna service the people. You know, please think about it tonight. We deserve a cost of living raise. I know it's not in there, but whatever you wanna call it, we all deserve. That 9-step is not gonna work. That is a revolving door for the new people. The new people, all they want is healthcare. It's all about healthcare and family. If you want to keep your employees here, give them better benefits. The money will outweigh the good benefits if you want to. The ones that are staying here are the long-term ones. You know, please think for all of us. You guys are like our parents, right? Take care of your children, all the departments. Thank you. I appreciate you guys listening to us. Thank you.
Jennifer Friesen. Jennifer Friesen.
Good evening, members of the City Council, media, community members. Jennifer Friesen, business rep for the IAM, the sole representative union for our City of Norwalk employees. We're here tonight because the city's negotiation conduct has raised serious fundamental concerns, not only about fairness and transparency, but about dignity, equity, and the basic respect owed to people who keep running the city. Let's be clear about how we got here. From the outset, the city has not bargained in good faith. Critical information has been deliberately withheld. When we've asked direct questions, we've been met with silence or vague reassurances, not facts. Instead of collaboration, we've encountered delay tactics and stonewalling. And instead of real solutions, we've been offered vague promises, especially when it comes to wages. Now the city is asking its employees to simply trust that they'll be taken care of. That's not trust, that's blind faith. And our members, they deserve better. That's not bargaining, it's manipulation. We've been told plainly and without hesitation that management is more important than the community-driven, boots-on-the-ground employees who keep the city running. The city justifies paying the full cost of healthcare plus incentives for management, while lowest paid members are left to choose between groceries and medical care. Some of our members are paying up to $800 a month for basic health insurance. And when we raise the issue, the city's response is dismissive. Just change doctors, they said. It's that easy. There's lower policies, just change doctors. Not caring about what family members they have, what kind of treatments they have, what's going on in their personal lives for the reasons of why they chose those health premiums. The city refuses to increase its contribution by even a fraction. That's not sustainable. That's not moral. And that's certainly not leadership. This is a question of values. Do we believe in a city that lifts up all its workers or only the ones with titles? Do we believe in transparency and mutual respect or backdoor tactics and silence? We are not asking for privilege. We are not asking for fairness. We are asking for fairness, for basic decency, and for a city that lives up to its own values. Trust is earned, not demanded. And right now, the city has a long way to earn ours back. The membership has already voted down your proposal. The question is, how do you intend to fix it? We're calling on city leadership, council, to do the right thing, step up, fix it. Because our members, they deserve better. And the community deserves to know what is happening behind closed doors. Thank you.
Adriana Jimenez. Adriana Jimenez. Okay, next then we have Stephen Gutierrez. Is she here? Okay. Okay, is Stephen Gutierrez here?
Good evening, Council. My name's Steve Gutierrez. I'm a national representative, National Federation of Federal Employees. I want to say good evening and thank you all to my union brothers and sisters in the background. I don't live here, I don't work here, but I know what's right. I work with Congress every single day, federal Congress. 535 people work on one agenda item every year. 13,000 bills are introduced, and a third of those are actually passed into Congress, right? So, in my endeavors, we've been able to get bills passed in this divided Congress that there is. For something not to have been placed or moved forward in the past 4 years or so for this local is unacceptable. It is unacceptable that I can get 535 people to agree on something that benefits federal employees. Be on the right side of history here. These folks are your eyes and ears to the rest of the entire community. They are your eyes and ears. Okay? You are on a time wedge. You have time, and it's closing very quickly. And retention issues are going to start rising, and you're going to start to get desperate. And who's going to be paying for that? All of you that are elected. Okay? You need to start really thinking about the decisions that you're making and that your perception is not meeting reality. Thank you.
Ashley Gunkel. Ashley Gunkel.
Good evening, council members. My name is Ashley Gunkel. I am the IAM chief negotiator for this local lodge here in the city of Norwalk. I'm here today to speak openly about what we're experiencing at the bargaining table and frankly, what we're not experiencing. That's communication, respect, and fairness. You were all CC'd on a recent correspondence that I had sent out. So you already know, the city has not communicated next steps with the union. We're being left in the dark, and that is bad faith bargaining, plain and simple. We often hear there are two sides to every story. I agree. But that only matters if you're actually listening to both. So far, it seems only one side is being heard, and it's not the people doing the day-to-day work in the city. And when we do hear something, it's deeply troubling. We've heard proposals of 2 cents an hour more in the city's proposal for some of our members. That is why part of it was rejected. While directors are getting raises around 20%, there's a massive gap, and it tells our members exactly where they stand in the city's priorities. It doesn't stop there. The city is proposing that 7 classifications start at a wage lower than what you have approved right now in your salary schedule. You're going from 5-step to 9-step. Your first step is lower than what you're paying now. How does that attract anybody here in the city? And perhaps most alarming, we've now heard comments that if we keep pushing, the city might just contract out all the union jobs. That we should just be lucky that we have a job. Let me be very clear. Threatening to eliminate union jobs is not bargaining, it's union busting. And telling workers they should be grateful to be underpaid and disrespected is not leadership, it's exploitation. IM members are not lucky to have a job. The city is lucky to have skilled, dedicated workforce that shows up every day to serve this community. We are not asking for more than what is fair. We are asking for transparency, equity, and to be treated with basic respect. Council, you've seen the emails, you've seen the numbers, you now heard part of the other side, but what you do next is really on you all, and I hope it's the right side of history here. Thank you.
Okay, our last speaker is Andy O.
It has now been 3 months since ICE started their terror in our communities, and yet there has been not a single mention on the agenda for the council to take any proactive action at protecting its residents. 6 meetings of asking you to do the bare minimum, and aside from one of you, there does not seem to be any urgency to lift a finger and stand against the kidnappings that are still going on. You've spoken out on multiple state bills, yet not a single word about the bills that are meant to address the problem with masked armed men operating in our cities with unmarked vans. You hardly have to do any work. The bill's already written and will be a state law enforced by the state, but you can't even do that. At this point, your lack of action is speaking volumes, and I see no other conclusion than the majority of you either don't care or actually support our neighbors being taken from the community they live or may have grown up in and summarily deported. Just today, Trump stated that he is sending in troops to Chicago against the wishes of the local and state government. As Mexican Independence Day approaches, this can be seen as nothing less than a provocation and a message that the federal government can do what they want and go where they want, in continuation with their goal to conduct the greatest mass deportation in history. Their words, not mine. How long until they come back here in force? The temporary restraining order remains in place, and yet if you spend any effort seeing what's going on in the communities, you will see the raids are not stopping, and on a daily basis, people continue to be taken from their workplace and their homes. The tactics are becoming more violent and aggressive. It won't be long before they come back with greater numbers and funding, and if you do nothing now, you will be responsible for what happens then. In your comments at the beginning of the meeting, you said you were here for us, but where were you as our neighbors were taken throughout the city over the last few weeks? Where were you as residents were in fear as raids were reported around the city? And clearly, you aren't here for your city workers who keep everything running. It's not surprising to see the majority of this council not only does not care about its residents, but also does not support the workers who are actually there for us, who work at and put on the great events for us, drive us to where we need to go, and do put all the hard work to make this city a great place to live. I hope you recognize their worth and you give them a fair contract. Having a wage cap before you have a rent cap in the city is shameful. And if you can reach an agreement with your managers and directors, you can reach one with these frontline workers too. Thank you.
That's our last card. We're adjourned.